our freedom possible. state titles since 2010 stands in the way. Only one team can move on tonight, John. Given all that surrounds this game between both these programs, I'll ask you the simple yet complicated question of who do you think has the edge tonight?
Yeah, way to lead me into it with an easy one. Now, I would say if you had to lead one way, it'd probably be Rochester, just due to their experience in the IHSA state playoffs for football, like you mentioned, winning 7 state championships since 2010. And especially in the playoffs, they have the experience. But I will say this Taylorville team, if there is a Taylorville team that you would bet on to knock off a Rochester squad, and it's weird saying knock off a Rochester squad when they're the higher seed Taylorville is, this would be the team that you'd be willing to bet on.
Thank you, John. These two teams. Maybe the biggest game in this school's history. And talk with him next. It's the News Talk WTIM pregame show.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Taylorville High School for tonight's Illinois High School Association third-round state playoff varsity football game between our 11-0 Tornadoes and the 10-1 Rockets from Rochester High School. And now will you please stand, gentlemen, remove your hats and face the flag at the south end of the field and join the Taylorville High School Marching Tornado Band under the direction of Mr. Chris Gunn as they play our national anthem. On behalf of the football-playing member schools of the Illinois High School Association, we welcome you tonight to the 4A football game between Rochester and Taylorville. It's just one of a statewide series. We'll crown 8 champions Thanksgiving weekend at Memorial Stadium on the campus of the University of Illinois. The championship game for Class 4 will be played Friday, November 23rd, 2018, beginning at 7 p.m. Taylorville has earned the IHSA playoff invitation 20 times, and this is their 6th consecutive trip under head coach Jeb Odom, who has also led the Tornadoes to their 3rd quarterfinal game in the last 5 years. The Tornadoes enter this evening's game after defeating Illinois Valley Central 57-30 in the first round, and Columbia High School last Saturday 45-23. The Taylorville seniors are entering today's game with a 3-year regular season record of 24-3 and a playoff record of 4 wins against 2 losses. The Tornadoes, champions of the Apollo Conference, enter the game as the number 1 seed in the southern half of the 4A bracket and are led by quarterback Brandon Odom, who has passed for 3,318 yards and 37 touchdowns this season to his primary targets, Justin Wright with 60 receptions, good for 1,586 yards and 18 TDs, and Yemi Odubison catching 51 balls for 1,088 yards and 14 touchdowns. On the defensive side of the ball, Camden Woodard leads the team with 115 tackles. The visiting Rockets finished tied for first in the Central State 8 Conference this year. With 7 state championships in the past 8 years, Rochester has earned a spot in the IHSA state playoffs 13 times, advancing to the quarterfinals 3rd round each time. Coach Derek Leonard, in his 14th season as head coach, has a career record at Rochester of 143 wins against only 30 losses. On offense, the Rockets have averaged 41.5 points per game this season. 2 running backs have shared the ball carrying duties for the Rockets, with number 21 David Yogers carrying the ball 115 times for 731 yards and 19 touchdowns, and number 3 Jacob DeRocher gaining 656 yards and 6 TDs on 66 carries. Quarterback Clay Bruno has completed 113 passes for 100 out of 189 passes for 1,920 yards and 22 touchdowns, while rushing the ball 106 times for 529 yards and 7 TDs. The Rockets enter tonight's 3rd round game after defeating Breeze Central 53-27 and Pontiac 47-28. Good sportsmanship is one of the primary purposes of the high school interscholastic athletic program. Athletes at Taylorville High School recognize that judgment calls are made in good faith and that they must abide by the decisions of the officials. Adults, please remember you are role models for our children and athletes. We hope you enjoy the game and support your athletes in a positive and sportsmanlike manner. Officials this evening's game are referee Spanky Smith, umpire Dave Holder, linesman Jeff Koppel, line judge Jay Miller, and the back judge is Brent Garrison.
What do they need to do tonight to ensure victory against a very tough Rochester opponent?
They need to come out hot. Last week against Columbia, both teams were kind of feeling each other out and getting ready for the matchup, and it took a little while to get their feet beneath them. But you're not really going to have that luxury tonight. If you don't come out firing on all cylinders, you could find yourself down early to Rochester if you're the Tornadoes.
And let's talk about Rochester, defending state champions. Derek Leonard, their head coach, has a very successful track record since taking over as head coach. Coaching's really in the family for him as well. But what do his Rockets need to do to get a road victory here and a great environment out at Taylorville High School? We got standing room only, people lining the fence. It's going to be a big one. But Like I said, John, what's Rochester need to do on the road to slip away with a win?
Well,
The possession,
oddly enough, you
distribution,
mentioned
and
the standing room
consumption
only,
of
the big
alcoholic
crowd
beverages
tonight.
and
That's what I was
other
going to go
illegal
with. You
substances
got to
are
match the intensity
prohibited
if you're
at
the Rockets. The
this
visiting
site and
team
on
coming
any
here to a
affiliated
new turf.
property
It's the first
of the
season for the
Illinois High
turf here
School
at Taylorville,
Association
and what a
State Series
great
contest.
site it
State
is out
Series
there.
hosts
And
are
we've seen the
required to
Tornadoes
make
have
all
really
State
played
Series
well on their home
contest
turf
sites
tonight.
and
Oddly
any
enough, undefeated
affiliated
at home
property,
and an undefeated
including parking
season.
lots.
But if you're the
Fan
Rockets, you really got to
accommodation.
match the intensity. A big crowd here, especially on the Taylorville sideline. It's standing from end zone to end zone on the opposite side there for the Rockets fans. But you really, not that they're going to come in and be intimidated by a crowd like this, but you really just have to bear down and be ready to go from the get-go.
The schools are separated by about 19 miles, both off Route 29, dubbing the name the Route 29 Rumble. Kickoff is getting closer and closer. We'll have that in a few minutes. It's the News Talk WTIM pregame show.
I'll give you two here.
Sounds good.
That's all we.
Effingham 35. The winner of tonight's game will play Kankakee McNamara next week. That game will be played at Kankakee next week, no matter who wins this game.
Buttermilk crispy tenders tossed in a new sweet and spicy honey barbecue glaze. There's a nice balanced barbecue flavor to the sauce that goes really well with the crispy chicken tenders. Stop by your Taylorville McDonald's and try them out. You asked for it? You got it. The McRib will be making its return. Sink your teeth into the McRib sandwich, slathered with tangy barbecue sauce. Stop in today, satisfy your appetite. Your Taylorville McDonald's wishes the Tornadoes good luck in the playoffs.
Hello, Aaron Seaton with Bob Ridings and Paint Up. You ready for the snow and ice this winter with a new or pre-owned four-wheel drive from Bob Ridings? With over 40 available in Pana and well over 500 at our family of dealerships, check us out online at Bob Ridings Pana. Click on the link to search all
There's
6
Joe
dealerships.
Cox, John Bowen with me tonight as we await a big matchup between the Taylorville Tornadoes, 11-0 on the season, against the Rochester Rockets, 10-1 on the season. And John, I want to focus a little bit on really the biggest player talked about all season long for Taylorville. That's their quarterback, Brandon Odom. He's been their leader now in his third year. The experience that he has for this team, the leadership that he's gained with this team, how important is that in moments like this before you're about to run out of that tunnel for what could be the last time this season? What's that experience like? How's it going to benefit a team like Taylorville?
Oh, I'd say it's huge. We've heard the last couple weeks in our post-game interviews with head coach Jeff Odom. He said Brandon's had to kind of rally the troops at the halftime break, and both times they've came out really just kind of giving it to the other team in the second half. So you know he's a pretty good motivator. It's no wonder, rather, he's a captain for this team, always out there for the coin toss. And to have someone like that under center who has been there before, you imagine he goes through the struggles as a sophomore, then he builds on his confidence as a junior, now as a senior, a third-year starter under center, or rather in the shotgun normally for the Tornadoes. He's comfortable tonight. He's got his go-to weapons of Justin Wright, Yemi Odubison, and we've seen some dump-off passes rather all year to Jack Kettle-Camp, and we'll just – it's really a calming presence. And another thing I'll mention this and close on this is head coach Jeff Odom. We've seen some mistakes that Brandon has made this postseason. A couple interceptions, one last week, and he says Coach Odom really kind of keeps that. He has trouble letting that go, but he says it just kind of rolls off Brandon's back, which I think is absolutely huge, especially with a game like tonight. If you make a mistake, you can't let it pile up and add on and cause another mistake down the road.
It is quarterfinal round of the IHSA state playoffs, and it's going to be a big one here tonight, John. You hear the Taylorville crowd as the Tornadoes run out of the field. The Rockets just ran out moments before Taylorville. They're doing both of the jerseys and both the fans are all like shots and so as the yellow letters for their colors. Take the helmet Tornado logo on the side as well. As for Rochester, the visiting team, they are looking to go in white away jerseys. They say the numbers orange on the left and outside. Not this atmosphere is all
Yeah, absolutely. And, I was just kind of thinking about this. I don't know if you ever seen the movie Miracle with Herb Brooks, the 1980 Holiday team. He fantastic with it. He calls him over for the start of the third period, and he says, "Listen to it. You did this. And look at this crowd. He's standing in there. We're not saying anything about
good for you.
Yeah, thanks, buddy.
Brady,
You
pat on the
have me
back for that
nervous.
one. All right, having some fun here before kickoff. Again, Taylorville is the host school going against Rochester. The last time they did not win a state championship was in 2015, where they were eliminated in the quarterfinal round. Is it another quarterfinal goodbye to Rochester's season this year, or does Taylorville's season come to an end? Jeb Odom has since he's been a head coach, has been in the quarterfinal round 2 times before, in 2015 and 2014. Both of those wound up as being losses, but a chance to make up for those tonight. Taylorville will be kicking off left to right to Rochester, the visiting team, to start this game off. And Cade Eddington, a talented wide receiver and safety for Rochester, and we'll talk more about him as this game continues on. He is the lone return man back to return. The question is will Brandon Odom's drop kick even get far enough to get the ball to him? So Brandon Odom kicking away. Drop kick, it's up and away, booted way back. Eddington will get under it at the 15. Runs right to left. He's going to take it up the left side of the field, cut back at the right. Has to get brought down just across the 32-yard line. And he gets across the 30-yard line on the kick return, but you wouldn't be able to tell from the cheering from the Taylorville crowd, John.
Yeah, I was going to say, listen to that intensity from the get-go. A decent return, but also great coverage there by the Tornadoes, making sure that getting to the 32 is all Eddington got. See if they can keep that intensity up the rest of the way.
Quarterback for the Rockets, Clay Bruno. 2 wide receivers to watch out for. It's Cade Eddington and Riley Lewis. 1st and 10 from the Rocket 32. 5 seconds gone by in the first quarter. Handoff will go to Yogers, the running back, and he gets brought down for a gain of 2 on the play. Carried it up to the 34. So a 2nd and 8 on the way next, John, and the Taylorville crowd yelling every bit they can here early on.
Now, I want to see how long they can keep this up. They're going to have to rest their vocal cords during halftime if they keep this up much longer.
Bruno out of the shotgun formation, 2nd and 8 on the near hash mark. He's going to run it all the way out to the left side, and a flag flies as he bundles his way up to the 45-yard line. It was good enough for a Rochester first down, but we'll wait and see what the flag is, John.
I'm going to guess it's a hold or a block in the back. I'm leaning towards hold.
Crowd is asking for a hold, but we're still not sure if they're going to get it. Waiting for the head official to make the call. He is facing us, John, and it is holding against the offense. Rochester will move back, so negate that first down, take it away. Yemi Adubison fired up the crowd a little bit after that call.
Yeah, this place is getting rowdy.
So football will be pushed back to the Tornado Rochester 27-yard line. They're working right to left. Bruno is the quarterback in the shotgun. Yogerst is his running back, flanking him to his right. 2 wide receivers out to the left side of the field, none out to the far right. Snap, handoff goes to Yogerst. He runs it up the middle. He's got room to run. A lot of green in front of him across the 45. Stiff arms the tackler across the 50 and gets tripped up out to the 46 and Taylorville territory and lets the crowd know we got a first down.
Ooh, that was a quick scoot out of the backfield there by Yogerst.
No huddle offense for the Rockets. They move quickly on the Tornado 47 with a 1st and 10. Bruno, the quarterback, with 3 receivers and Yogers to his right. He'll drop back to pass, now rolling out to the right side of the field, throwing downfield. Pass is caught as Lewis barely got his left hand underneath it. I believe they called that complete, John. They did. Up to the 34 is where that ball moved into Taylorville territory. A nice catch by Riley Lewis.
Well, Dubison didn't think it was caught.
Rochester waiting for the chains to get set, and now Yogers will move in motion as Bruno will take the snap. Throw out to Eddington on the near side. Eddington with room to run across the 30 up to the 20 and gets swarmed down at the 15 as he gets tackled by Will Kettlecamp. Another 1st down for Rochester, easily moving down on their first drive of the game with 10:54 left in the first quarter. We're tied with nobody scoring.
The Taylorville sideline wants a hold on Hank Beatty. He threw Kaylor Jacobs down to the ground on his block.
And so now a bit of delay between the play here as...
There's going to be a sideline warning.
No, a holding call, John. Like you said, the crowd wanted it on Beatty, and it pushes Rochester back. So instead of being inside the red zone for the first time tonight, they're going the opposite way down the field. That's the 2nd flag against Rochester this drive. It doesn't seem to hurt their offense so far as they're so effective working down the field. But here they are in a repeat 1st down after the hold. And it was a spot foul, so they're out at the 39-yard line. And it's a 1st and about 7, it looks like, unless the chains just are incorrect. I'm not quite sure. I don't think the chains have it sorted out yet, the people working down there. All right, it's a 1st and 10. Now we're set. Bruno in the shotgun formation. Handoff to Yogers, who gets met by Breckenridge in the backfield and brought down for a loss of 1.
Wow, I'll tell you what, Breckenridge was almost back there to take the handoff from Bruno.
He exploded across the line of scrimmage, and a big stop there. 2nd and 12 on the way for Rochester.
I'll tell you what, a great job there by Yogers, just fighting back to get that loss of 2.
3 down linemen for Taylorville. Bruno shotgun formation again. It's a toss out to Yogers on the left side, and he gets wrestled down just across the 40-yard line. A gain of maybe 5 on the play, and that forces a 3rd down for Rochester, a 3rd and about 5 on the way next, so it is manageable.
Absolutely, and you know that Bruno can run a little bit as well. He averages 5 yards a carry and has 7 touchdowns on the ground. You can't really just count on him dropping back to pass as he's got an empty backfield now.
Bruno all alone in the shotgun. And Chris Korwitz, a 6'4", 280 offensive lineman, is lined up as a wide receiver. Bruno drops back to pass, throws to Eddington on a screen on the right side, who escapes tacklers and gets tripped up by his ankles across the 25. Good enough for a Rochester 1st down. That was a big conversion there, John.
I was going to say, they actually ran a double screen on both outside receivers, and it worked great. If you get it into Eddington's hands, that's kind of their bread and butter.
1st and 10 once again for Rochester. Ball just inside the 25. Bruno in a pistol formation. Yogers accompanying him in the backfield, and he gets the carry. Up the middle he goes, now out to the left, eluding a tackler across the 10 and got tripped up by Will Kettlecamp and slipped just inside the 10-yard line. A potential touchdown-saving tackle there, but Rochester knocking on the door, and the Tornado defense has showed very few signs of being capable of slowing them down here in this first drive with 9:55 to play. Bruno, shotgun formation again. Takes the snap, receiver in motion, it's Beatty from left to right, gets the handoff on the sweep to the right side and slips up just outside the 5-yard line, down at about the 7. He tackled himself on that play, John, so 2nd and goal upcoming.
Turf Monster came up and got him, and you mentioned this Tornado's defense kind of being out of whack, at least here early on. I think the issue is this hurry-up offense from Rochester. Really nothing that the Tornado's defense has seen quite like that so far this year.
They practice a lot of the no-huddle. They even start at junior football leagues with the no-huddle to get them ready for high school. As Bruno is in the pistol formation again, Yogers, the running back, gets the handoff up the left side. He goes and stumbles across the goal line, and the Rochester Rockets go on the board first, but we've got a flag down right at the goal line. We'll see what the call is. John Eddington celebrating like it's a Rockets touchdown.
Yeah, Eddington thinks they have it. The Tornadoes defense hasn't moved, though.
We're waiting on the head official.
It might be a block in the back. Face
mask on the Tornadoes. So against Taylorville, but forget that. Rochester's got the touchdown. Bruno hypes the crowd up. In the meantime, So with 9:15 left in the first quarter, the Rockets get on the board first, 6-0. They lead Taylorville, defending state champions, looking to move on to the state semifinal round. And out to kick the extra point is Clay Aylwalt. 26 of 29 in the air, point after touchdowns. He'll go through his routine and await the snap. It's a clean snap. Down, Aylwalt kicks it up and splits the uprights. That's good. 7-0. Rockets on the board first. We'll see what Taylorville can do next. You're listening to Tornado Football on News Talk, WTIM.
Serving Shelby, Christian, Fayette, Moultrie, Effingham, Clay, and Montgomery counties is proud of the Taylorville Tornadoes football team. Their teamwork and spirit has been great for the school, classmates, and the entire community. Central Illinois Public Transit is open to everyone. Doctor's appointments, a trip to the grocery store, a visit with friends, they do it all. Call toll-free at 1-855-755-2478. Central
Boston Taylorville, fully insured and bonded. Milling Millwork Contracting Incorporated, a proud sponsor of the Taylorville Tornadoes, who trail 7-0 early on in the first quarter. 9:15 left to play. We got our first look at the Rochester offense, and they are efficient.
You know, Harrison, for some reason in the back of my mind, I have this odd feeling that Rochester seems like the team to attempt an onside kick.
Well, we will see as Aylwalt lines up to kick it off. The kicking duties for Rochester. He will kick it right to left and puts the right foot high, boots in the air to the near side of the field. It bounces at the 20, and Taylor Jacobs will pick it up and run across the 25 and down at the 29-yard line. So a small return there, but decent field position to start for Taylorville. This will be the first time tonight that we get a look at Brandon Odom and his offense and what they're going to do against the Rockets.
Tell you what, if Jacobs breaks that tackle back to that kickoff return, only man he would have had to beat was Elwelt, sorry.
Odom in the pistol formation, working left to right on this drive. Herkert is the tailback behind him. Two receivers out to the right and left, one more to the right. Play action, thrown over the middle to Odubison, caught at the 35, eludes a tackler across the 40. Juke move up to the 45, down at the 46. Eddington getting in there in the tackle as well. And that's one way to start for Taylorville, a first down, which means our friends at Landmark at Taylorville donate $10 to the Taylorville Sports Boosters.
Tell you what, I love Yemi Odubison there, using the official as a key blocker, almost setting a pick for him like in basketball.
Four receivers out to the left side, one more to the right. Odom all alone in the shotgun. Quick screen set up for right as he throws out to the right side of the field, and it was quickly covered up by Rochester, right, with maybe no gain on the play. If not, it was a loss of one, John, and a 2nd and 11 being dialed up here for Taylorville from their own 45.
Yeah, that's a tough way to follow it. I think Justin Wright's really going to have a tough time getting going tonight. It's no secret he's the go-to guy for the purple jerseys, and Rochester might see him some double coverage or even triple coverage.
Odom in the shotgun by himself once again. Four receivers split out. Blake Donnan in as the tight end as well as Jack Kettlecamp. Odom dropping back to throw, scrambling right, throwing right, and it gets under the hands of Ethan Milam at the 45, but called incomplete by officials. So incomplete pass there, bringing up a 3rd and 11 from Taylorville for their own 45. Interesting to note, John, you saw this in the pregame. Brandon Odom wearing gloves on both hands tonight. Does that affect the way he throws the ball? It is very cold. Lows are going to be sub-20 tonight, and we're up in the press box. There's no heat in here, John. We can feel the cold. It's got to be freezing down the field.
Absolutely.
Odom and the shotgun, right? The running wide receiver lined up as a running back, and now will be motioned out as a wide receiver. And Jeb Odom is going to have to call a timeout here for Taylorville, try and get some things sorted out. Clearly something pre-snap was not right. We'll take a timeout as well. Taylorville trails by 7, 8:19 left to play in the first quarter. It's Tornado Football on News Talk WTIM.
1 minute.
present, you want them gone and gone for good. Contact Rare Pest Control. Bob Rare provides complete residential and commercial services, including termite treatments, roaches, fleas, crickets, and more. Real estate inspections, pre-treatments, and free estimates. Rare Pest Control has been serving Christian and Shelby counties for over 25 years. When you need your pest gone for good, contact Rare Pest.
Quarterfinal round of the state playoffs. Tornadoes break the huddle, moving left to right. It's 3rd and 11 from their own 45. Odom is in the shotgun with Justin Wright lined up to his left. 3 receivers out to the right side for Odom, and now make it 2 on the left side as Wright goes in motion. Odom dropped to pass, and he'll scramble. He'll run himself right up the middle with his legs across the 45 and slides down at the 40. A flag down. If it's not against Taylorville, Brandon Odom just picked up the first down with his legs.
It looked like a second. Oh, they're just scooting that flag forward. I thought it might have been a second flag thrown. I'd imagine this is a hold or a block in the back on Taylorville. Comes in the secondary like that. It's kind of tricky because when the defensive back goes to turn to make the play, you're holding your block as an offensive player, and you don't really feel the need to kind of let go.
It is holding, John, against Taylorville per the head official, and so that's going to move them back. And so negate that run by Brandon Odom, picked up by his legs. Instead, it is a spot foul, John, and they're going to have the ball right at midfield on that left hash mark, and it's a 3rd and 6. First down marker at the Rochester 46. Odom will be by himself in the shotgun once again. 2 receivers out to the left, 2 more to the right, and this time we're going to get a timeout from head coach Derek Leonard, and the Rockets will keep it here for now, John, as Taylorville trails by 7 with 8:03 left to play in the first quarter. A big 3rd down coming up for this Tornado offense. But I'd like to remind you, listen for the Tornadoes, Doug McKinney, your country financial agent, player of the game, announced in the News Talk WTIM postgame show. Doug McKinney at Country Financials, where they grow with you. All right, John, a couple of questions here for you. I'll ask you one of the 2 that I have, given the time left in this timeout. But we've seen Rochester's offense. They were like a knife through butter, how well they worked it down the field in that first drive. For Taylorville, a few hiccups here. We've seen some flags. They're kind of struggling to get the first down here. What are your thoughts on this offense going up against a very tough, stingy Rochester defense?
Yeah, well, the thing is, Rochester had flags too. Let's point that out, but it seemed to really not faze them. But Taylorville, we've seen them play clean football these last couple of weeks, and a couple of big penalties to slow them down. You wonder, that timeout called by Jeb Odom earlier on, now a timeout by Derek Leonard. If Brandon Odom gets there and kind of rallies the troops and calms everyone's nerves, being the senior quarterback.
Out of the timeout, 3rd and 6 from the 50. Odom in the shotgun all alone. 3-step drop back, throwing over the middle to Donnan. It's caught, but he's quickly wrestled down to the field. And John, did the football come out? I think it might have. Kate Eddington jumping in the air like it's their ball. I just saw one official point in the Rochester direction. And it is Rochester football. Blake Donnan on the fumble. Brandon Odom was pressured. Through the pressure, throws over the middle to Donnan, who caught the ball right where the line of scrimmage was, and as he was tackled, coughed up the football, and an early hiccup and mistake for Taylorville with 7:55 remaining. Rochester takes over from the Tornado 49.
It's almost like Rochester knew a play was coming. They sniffed out that screen, no problemo.
Bruno shotgun formation once again. 2 receivers out to the left, 1 more to the right. Rochester working right to left. Play action, Bruno throwing downfield to Eddington, who catches it between the numbers and brought down at the 25-yard line by Justin Wright. And Eddington, a fantastic wide receiver for Rochester. He plays both ways, plays defense as well. And the big storyline with this young man, receiving an offer this year from Miami. And it's Miami, the U, out there in Florida. Bruno out of the shotgun formation, 1st and 10 from the 17. Handoff goes to the back, who carries it right up the middle. Excuse me, not the 17, but the 23. And that carry went right up to about the 20.
I believe that's Zach Gleason getting credit for that carry, the big bruising back compared to Yager, who's more of the speed guy.
Gleason averages just under 6 yards a carry. Really, 4 different guys for this Rochester team can all run the football very well. Bruno's one of them, the quarterback, who takes a snap on a 2nd and 5. Up the middle goes Gleason again, and he eludes a few tacklers, getting down just across the 15-yard line, picking up another first down for Rochester, and he got to about the 12 with 7:15 left to play in the first quarter. 7-0. Rochester leads, knocking on the goal line again. So 1st and 10 from the 13. Bruno shotgun formation, went with the hard count, looks toward the sideline for the play call. 3 receivers out to the right, 1 more to the left. Bruno commanding his offensive line before he walks back into the shotgun formation. Clean snap. Handoff goes to the running back, Gleason. Up the middle, he piles ahead, and just inside the 10 to the 7 is where he was finally brought down after a few tornadoes bumped into him. With 6:45 and counting on the clock, 7-0, Rochester still leads. And now it's a second down and very manageable here for Rochester. 4 to go to get the first. Ball is on the 7. Bruno back in the shotgun. Goes to Gleason for the third straight time. Up the middle, he gets it across the goal line. Rochester scores again with 6:29 to play. The away team with a strong start here in the first quarter.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll tell you what, how easy is it for Clay Bruno, the quarterback? All you got to do is handle the snap coming in the shotgun and hand it off to your tailback, whether it's Yogurt or Gleason. They've both proven they can get the job done against this Tornadoes defense.
And those Rochester fans on the far side of the field have a lot to cheer about here in this first quarter. Extra point coming out for Allwelts. He made the first one tonight, 27-30 on the year, as he awaits the snap on the next one. And now officials blowing a few whistles. Not quite sure what the reasoning is. They're calling a player off the field. I can't quite make up who that is just yet.
It's going to be Dalton Smith, I believe.
Yeah, so Dalton Smith it is. He will go to the sideline, and Herkert will come in for him in the special teams unit for Taylorville. Not quite sure he was asked to leave the field, but he was. And here's Allwelt awaiting the snap once again on the extra point. Clean snap. Allwelt gets underneath it, kicks it up, and good. 14-0. Rochester builds on the lead with 6:29 left to play. You're listening to Tornado Football on News Talk WTIM.
Memorial Christian is cheering the team on for continued playoff success. Davis Memorial Christian invites you to check out our worship service. We meet every Sunday at 10:15 a.m. Also, we invite you to check us out on Facebook or...
Big smile of the game, the play that put the biggest smile on our fans tonight. And make sure to ask about custom mouth guards for your athlete's smile by contacting Doctors Lewis and Harmon at CISmiles.com. Rochester back to kick this football away for the second time this quarter. With 6:29 left to play, they have a 14-0 lead on the scoreboard. The offense is looking like what it's looked like for the most part this year, absolutely dominant in almost every phase. Right to left, the kickoff will go. Jimmy O'Dumison, Justin Wright, Taylor Jacobs back to return. Allwelt kicks it away with a right foot. End to end it goes, bounces at the 22. Jacobs will just fall on top of it at about the 19. And a risky decision for him to jump on top of it, but he does and secures it. And Taylorville will take over this next possession just inside the 20-yard line.
Yeah, if he didn't jump on top of that, though, Jordan Rapps was coming in like a banshee, and he might have taken that one to the house for 6. There's always an interesting play there if you're Taylor Jacob. You want to either try to let it go out of bounds, get yourself good field position, but I think he made the right play there, diving on that ball, staying in bounds, and making sure that his team has possession.
Left to right, the Tornadoes will work in the second offensive possession of the game. Brandon Odom and his offense and the Tornadoes trailing by 14. 1st and 10 from the 18-yard line. Run all the way for Odom, up the middle, across the 25, slides at the 30, but not before taking a shot right in the middle of the field by Cade Eddington. Brandon Odom, though, picks up the first down for the Tornadoes. That means our friends at Landmark of Taylorville donate another $10 to the Tornadoes Sports Boosters. You always do better at Landmark.
We'll see if Brandon Odom keeps that in his memory bank. Cade Eddington was actually down on the ground before Odom's slide. Maybe a fake slide. Keep going.
10 from the 31. Odom tosses out to O'Dubison up the left side of the field. Stiff arm O'Dubison goes across the 35, where he actually gets stopped at the 35. And another stop for Rochester there, holding Taylorville to a small gain on that play. Dalton Tiemann came away with the tackle there. He was the one to bring O'Dubison down to the ground. Jimmy O'Dubison, he wears the number 1. When he first played football, he wanted to wear the number 100, John, but they wouldn't let him. So he just decided number 1 was the next best thing. Here's a 2nd and 6 for the Tornadoes from the 35-yard line. Odom, another shotgun snap. A clean pocket this time. Throws over the middle to O'Dubison. Caught at the 37, and he was tackled on that play right as he caught the football by Jack Russo.
I'll tell you what, he tried to use the ref as a pick again, and Brusso wasn't having any of it. He was right on Odubison's hip, and I don't think that's anything Yimmy's used to seeing so far this year. He and Justin Wright are normally used to kind of having their way in terms of athleticism.
3rd and 3 from the 38. Odom in the shotgun. 4 receivers, and Herkert in as a running back. Rochester shows blitz, backs off, and Odom's pass is incomplete, and that's Brusso knocking it down on the ground. He tried to find Kettlecamp and could not, and Yimmy Odubison showing some frustrations down on the field. I think he might have wanted the football there, or maybe wanted a flag. He saw his tight end possibly getting held, but officials decide to not throw anything. With 5:01 left in the first quarter, 14-0. Tornadoes with the ball back in their own 38. Looks like they're going to have to punt here. It's 3 yards to get to the first down in the fourth.
Yeah, we'll see. Right now, it looks like Odom is going to take the snap, but now he'll drop back to punt. Smart play here by the Tornadoes. No one back to receive for the Rockets.
High snap. Odom corrals it, boots it away, and nobody was back to receive, John. It's high, flying, and bounces Rochester's way at the 35, then moves all the way to the 37, and that's where it was finally touched up by Justin Wright. With 4:52 left in the first quarter, the Tornado offense has got a goose egg on the scoreboard. Rochester with 14 points coming on the road. Granted, it's not that far down the road, just 19 miles away, but they're off to the hot start.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know you and I were kind of confused because we heard that the Rockets warm up at their facility and then drive down. They didn't warm up on the field today at the same time the Tornadoes were, but maybe they're on to something here.
Yeah, they do a bit of a run-through hours before game time at their own field. Bruno by himself in the shotgun from the 38. It's 1st and 10, working right to left. Trips wide receivers out to the left, and it's a quick throw to Beatty, and he catches it, stiff-arming across the 40-yard line, still eluding tacklers, and gets brought down at the 42 as Bouchon got there for the tackle, and the final stop for Taylorville. 2nd down coming up for Rochester. Something this Tornado defense could really use is a stop here and get a breather.
Only really seen one shot downfield so far by Bruno. It was the catch by Eddington.
Bruno, shotgun formation once again. A handoff goes to the 3rd running back this time for Rochester, and he's got room to run up the middle, across the 50-yard line, and still carrying tacklers inside the Tornado 45 out to about the 43. That's Jacob DeRocher.
That's a sophomore?
Yes, John.
That looks like a college tailback. Mike, he averages 9.9 yards per carry, and you can see why. I thought Gleason was the bruising back, but the sophomore DeRocher puts him to shame.
1st and 10 from the Taylorville 44 as DeRocher will have the handoff fake to him. Bruno runs it up the middle himself. Plenty of room to run as he gets inside the 30 and spun down at the 25. And this Rochester offense is just clicking. Taylorville cannot find a way to slow them down. And you have to think part of it, John, is this no-huddle offense that the Rockets like to run. With 4:07 left in the first quarter, 14-0, they lead.
Yeah, it also helps having those 3 backs for Bruno to hand off to. You wonder in a cold game like this, the running game virtually ineffective all season for the Tornadoes.
Bruno by himself in the shotgun formation. Pitch to Eddington in motion. He cuts upfield inside the 15, across the 10, and down at the 5, and finally tackled at the 2-yard line with a flag coming in at the end of the play. And Cade Eddington, man, does he have some speed and strength running the football. You can see why he'd get a Division I offer.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as soon as he caught that ball, he realized, okay, I'm a running back now, and he lowered the shoulder on the defensive player for the Tornadoes and picked up that extra 2 or 3 yards, and he's down just outside the goal line. We'll see what the penalty is.
It looks like it's a block in the back against the Rockets, John. So that moves them back after the big play from Eddington, who, by the way, walked over to the sideline. It looked like he might have been shaken up a little bit on the last play. It goes for nothing. 3:49 left in the first quarter. Rockets with a 14-0 lead on the scoreboard. It was a spot foul, so it was where the foul occurred. So the Rockets still have it inside the 15-yard line at the 13, and it's a 1st and 10. The 14, rather. Bruno will be all alone in the shotgun. 3 receivers out to the right side, 2 more to the left. Looking to score a 3rd consecutive touchdown. Bruno with the hard count, then he'll back off a bit. Taylorville showing blitz. Bruno resuming snap position, takes the snap, will run it himself. It's a quarterback run all the way. He runs to the left, now reversing field to the right, and Breckenridge brings him down at the 10. A gain of 4 on the play for Bruno, the quarterback, 3:25 and counting. on our game clock in the first quarter with 14 on the scoreboard for the Rockets, nothing for Taylorville.
I was going to say, don't fall asleep on Bruno's legs right there. Yeah, again, we mentioned he's kind of a dual-threat quarterback. Yeah, he can tuck it down and run it himself if he sees fit.
It's a 2nd down and 7. Bruno takes the snap. This time he'll hand off to his running back. And that's a new running back in the backfield tonight, John, as he was tripped up at about the 5-yard line. And that's Seth Parkinson, the freshman, a 6'1", 165-pounder.
Yeah, so 2 freshmen we've seen getting some playing time. Hank Beatty being the other one. He has 2 touchdown passes on the season, so keep that in your playbook tonight, folks.
And Parkinson will stay in. Bruno fakes the handoff to him, runs up the middle, trying to push his way with the legs to get across the goal line, but he was stood up at the 2 by a handful of Tornadoes. And with 2:35 left on our first quarter clock, John, it's another fresh set of downs for Rochester. It's going to be a 1st and goal. They just got right across the first down marker on that last play. They needed a few yards to get there. Bruno did it with the legs. Parkinson, the freshman back, will run off the field. His job was done and done well. Gleason in at running back to the left of Bruno. 2 wide receivers split to both sides. Handoff goes to Gleason. He shoulders his way up the middle and across the goal line again. Rochester owning the first quarter of this ball game. 20-0. They go on top with 2:20 left to play in the first quarter.
Yeah, and it's just been a simple get the shotgun snap, hand it off to your receivers, and they're doing a fantastic job, though. I will say they mix in just enough passes that the Tornadoes can't stack the box to try to stop the run.
They're showing why this team has won 7 state titles since 2010 and has a good shot at winning another one this year, despite only having 5 players returning to their starting lineup. Well, to kick the extra points, his 3rd of the night is on the way, and officials confirm that it is successful. 21-0. Rochester leads with 2:20 left in the first quarter. This is Tornado football on News Talk WTIM. Tornadoes on their home turf field trail. This is by far the largest they have trailed all season. 21-0 to the Rochester Rockets. Kickoff unit comes out back on the field for Rochester. Return unit out for Taylorville. Kickoff going right to left. Allwell to kick it away for the 3rd time tonight for Rochester. And the defending state champs, quite frankly, John, showing why they're defending state champs. Last time they didn't win a state title was 2015. And Rochester has become a force to be reckoned with in the 4A class. As Allwell will line up to kick it away again. Tornadoes have their hands full tonight. They need to score here before this one could get away from them, John.
Absolutely, yeah. If you don't get an answer on this drive, this could be a quick game the rest of the way.
Squib kick for Allwelt, and it's going to be picked up by Will Kettlecamp out on the left side of the field, and he was tripped up at the 34. The kick didn't go far. Neither did the return. So decent field position once again for Taylorville after this kickoff at the 34. That's where Brandon Odom will try to get things set for this offense. The senior leader for the team, a 3rd-year starter. But so far, those big plays that we've seen throughout most of the season haven't been there.
No, there's no time like the present to get it going. Like you said, we're only in the first quarter with 2:16 left to go. Still plenty of football left on the clock.
1st and 10 from the 35. Odom by himself in the shotgun, looking downfield. Nobody's there. He's going to run himself across the 35, dragging tacklers, and gets down at the 42. A decent run there from the Taylorville quarterback as Taylor Williams finally brought him down.
He does also lead the team in rushing. That's Brandon Odom. But you're going to need to start seeing it get done with the arm here pretty soon. Again, 21-0 hole here early for the Tornadoes. Something they're absolutely not used to.
2nd and 4 from the 41. Odom shotgun again. Play action. He's going to run it out to the left side of the field. Now reverse field. Back up right with a hole across the 45. Now running and gets brought down at the 49. A nice run by the quarterback gets the Tornadoes a 1st down. And that means our friends at Landmark donate another $10 to the Tornado Sports Boosters. John, remember, you always do better at Landmark. 1st and 10 from the Tornado 49. You're thinking they need to score on this drive.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, they're 1 yard shy of the 50, and that might be the first time they actually get across midfield today, if I can remember.
They had it earlier, but on their last
It was negated
drive,
by a penalty.
Negated by a penalty. So Brandon Odom in the shotgun. Herkert, the running back, lined up to his right. Kettlecamp in motion from right to left. Odom passing once again, throwing to Justin Wright on the near sideline. He shakes a tackler and runs across the 45 down at the 41 in Rochester territory. You hear the crowd getting into it now. Taylorville working it down the field as easily as they have all night long. John, a minute, 10 seconds left here in quarter number 1, 21-0. Taylorville trailing by quite a large deficit on the scoreboard, but finding some momentum here on offense.
Yeah, we might see this become the Justin Wright show before too much longer. His first catch of the night right there goes for a first down. We'll see if they keep feeding him.
Brandon Odom in the shotgun formation. Herkert to his left. And Odom will get the quarterback draw. It's the shotgun snap. He runs it himself. A pickup of about 3 on the play, just inside the 40-yard line to the 38. So a 2nd and 7 next for Taylorville with 54 seconds left in the first quarter clock. 21-0 Tornadoes trail.
Talon Williams, the linebacker, coming down to make that tackle. I thought Odom might have had a chance of breaking that. And if he had, we would have been mentioning Landmark again. Had a clear-cut first down.
2nd and 7 from the 37. Odom takes the snap. He bobbles it, loses it, and catches it. Running back around out to the left side, but he's going to get and he finally gets wrapped up. It took about 5 different Rockets to finally bring down the quarterback, and they do. Back at the Rochester 45, John, and that's a loss of about 8 yards on the play, and a 3rd and very long coming up as you see Brandon Odom taking the glove off his.
I was wondering how long we were going to see those. We haven't seen Brandon Odom, the quarterback, with any gloves on all season. And you can see he goes back there. He had a receiver open. He was looking over the middle, trying to complete the pass, and just bobbled it. Ended up catching it right back to himself. But by then, all receivers were covered and nothing he could have done.
Took the glove off his right hand. He kept the one on the left on. Something we'll keep an eye on tonight. 21-0, though. Taylorville trails after the first quarter. It's Tornado football on News Talk WTIM.
You want a minute?
For those of you playing the yard sale, ball enters the 44-yard line. Ball is held, but you're winning at the
So sit back, relax, and prepare for the show. The best of the best, THS. Let's go! Let's go, Hero!
Come on, Taylorville! We gotta get in this game! We get Rochester down!
Contracting Incorporated, providing professional quality craftsmanship at 405 West Main Cross in Taylorville. Fully insured and bonded. That's Milling Millwork Contracting Incorporated, a proud sponsor of the Taylorville Tornadoes. So a 3rd and 13 here, John, after Brandon Odom was sacked on the last play. I believe it was Taylor Williams who wound up getting him at the end. But here comes Odom back out on the field here to start the second quarter. He's walking toward the sideline to get the play call from head coach and uncle Jeb Odom.
They're trying to get Ethan Milam lined up in the right spot. Now Yemi Odubison coming in motion as well.
Odubison comes in motion from right to left. Odom in the shotgun. Herkert flanking him to his left. And Odom will drop back, rolling out to the left side of the field. Now back upfield. He's going to try to get rid of the ball as he's wrapped up around his ankles, and it's batted incomplete. Pressure was put on there by the Rochester defensive line, and Brandon Odom was wrapped up by his ankles as he threw it to the ground, and Dalton Tiemann came away with a pass deflection and broke it up. And so the Tornadoes back at their own 44 with a 4th and 13, most likely a punting situation, trailing 21-0 with 11:53 left in the second quarter. But where it stands right now, Brandon Odom is in the shotgun formation on a 4th and very long.
Even for Coach Jeb Odom, who's an aggressive play caller, you might think this one might be a little bit too much.
4th and 14, Odom on the shotgun snap, throwing right over the middle of the field, and it's incomplete as he tried to find Justin Wright in double coverage. It's a turnover on downs, and the Rockets, with all the momentum tonight, take over at their own 44.
Yeah, that one just a little bit behind the all-state wide receiver, and you mentioned that double coverage. Justin Wright going to be seeing a lot of that tonight.
He's going to get that attention. He was an all-state wide receiver last year and, set the single-season record for Taylorville High School in the receiving yards in a single season, but not a whole lot tonight. Bruno in the shotgun formation for the Rockets, working left to right now. It's 1st and 10 from their own 44 after the Tornado turnover on down. He has 2 wide receivers out to his left and Cade Eddington to the right. Snap goes to Bruno. It's a quick throw out to the left side to Lewis. He'll speed his way up across the 50-yard line and just across into Taylorville territory. He goes down at about the 47.
Yeah, just quick screen passes. We mentioned we've only really seen the one pass downfield. Decent completion to Eddington. But for the most part, it's been screen passes. Quick outs, getting it out of Bruno's hands, getting it in the hands of the athletes.
Bruno again on a 2nd and 2 from the far hash mark. Low snap, play action, dropping back to pass, throwing downfield, and just overthrew Lewis, who laid out to get it just outside the painted numbers, and it skipped off his right fingertips incomplete. 11:13 left to play in the second quarter. Rochester with a 3rd and 2 upcoming and a 21-point lead.
I'll tell you what, Riley Lewis there was wide open, almost had his around his 50th reception of the year, and he would have had some space to maneuver with as well.
3rd and 2 from the Taylorville 48. Bruno shotgun formation. Play action, running it himself up the left side, across the 40, across the 45. He's past the 20-yard line. Justin Wright finally wraps him up at the 14-yard line, and a huge play from Rochester on a 3rd and short. It started at the Taylorville 48, and now they're inside the red zone.
I'll tell you what, Justin Wright took the right angle on that tackle, had the speed to drag him down as well, but man, Bruno shot out of a cannon once he saw he had some green grass to maneuver with.
From the Tornado 13, it's a 1st and 10 for Rochester again inside the red zone. Clean snap, throw is going to go out and caught and in for the score for Rochester. I didn't recognize him at first, but that was Jelon Williams in there at wideout, and he grabbed the ball and just sprinted straight across the goal line. Rochester increasing on their lead 27-0 here in the second quarter with 10:49 left to play.
Absolutely not the result you want there. Kyle Durbin out there in coverage, maybe just a little bit too relaxed. The ball was spotted inside the 10 and wasn't really playing press coverage. Might see if we make an adjustment, or if the Tornadoes rather make an adjustment going the rest of the game.
Allwelt in for the extra point with 10:49 left to play in the first half. It's been all Rochester. Clean snap. Allwelt gets it away and snuck it just inside that left upright. 28-0. Rockets gain on their lead. It's Tornado football on News Talk WTIM.
Inside of the bottle. There's no wonder why so many people stick with Taylorville Community Credit Union for their financial needs. We keep your money local, offer low loan rates, higher deposit rates, and a lot more. Membership is open to anyone who lives or works in Christian, Shelby, or Montgomery counties. We are conveniently located in Taylorville, Hillsborough, and Litchfield, or you can visit us online at TaylorvilleCommunityCreditUnion.com. Come join us. You'll wonder why you waited. Member NCUA.
Make sure to listen. As far as players showing up for Taylorville, John, we haven't really seen a whole lot out of their offense or defense. Rochester has yet to not score on a drive tonight. They've had 4 drives, 4 touchdowns. Why they're leading 28-0. For Taylorville, a turnover on downs, a fumble, and a punt as well in there. They're about to get their 4th drive of the game with 10:49 left to play in the first half, trailing on their home turf here in the IHSA quarterfinal round. I'm Harrison Silcox, John Bowen alongside me. Allwelt to kick it away left to right. Does with the right foot, high in the air, out to the right side of the field. It'll bounce right at the 30 before Kaylor Jacobs picks it up, runs up the middle across the 40, and he gets tripped up right at the 45-yard line. And almost a huge return by Kaylor Jacobs on the high lofting kick. That doesn't go very far from Allwelt. And now a flag just went high on the field. And I think we might have had somebody, child, from the Rochester sideline just run out on the football field, and I think that might be a flag against Rochester, John.
Well, we'll see what the call is. But in other news, Jaden Myron just kept the Tornadoes at a 0 on the scoreboard. Kaylor Jacobs was down right there.
So sideline warning. And if you remember, there was one against Rochester in the first quarter. It was just a warning. You do it again, it's a flag. So that's going to walk the Tornadoes up. It was going to be just across their own 45. Instead, they're at the 39-yard line, and Rochester's into the field. So if there's ever a perfect time to score for the Tornadoes, it would be now. Rochester doing some favors for them with 10:43 left to play in the first half. Brandon Odom all alone still with just the one glove on his left hand, takes the shotgun snap, and it's just a bad throw. He took it. It was a screen immediately set up to the left for Odubison, and it just fell right out of Odom's hand, and he whiffed it, and it just floated and spiraled out of control about 3 yards down the field. Unfortunate, it landed incomplete. 2nd and 10 coming up for Taylorville.
Yeah, I kind of wondered if that was a ball batted at the line of scrimmage, but Odom had a pretty clean pocket, not a whole lot of pressure or arms up in the passing lanes. No, I mean, he just kind of threw that one like a wounded duck.
Wounded duck, a perfect way to describe that, John. 2nd and 10 from the Rochester 38. Odom in the shotgun. Herkert is flanking him to his left. 3-step drop back pressure comes for Odom. He throws it to right out on the right side, and he's tackled for a loss of 1 on the play. So it goes down as a completion, but no yards gained, and in fact, 1 yard lost. 3rd and 11 from the Rochester 40.
And folks, there's a big size difference in terms of the Taylorville offensive line and the defensive line for the Rochester Rockets, and that's why you see so much pressure being applied on Brandon Odom tonight. Even with that being a screen pass, they got back there pretty quickly.
Shotgun snap for Odom. Quick throw over the middle to Justin Wright, and it was incomplete. Skipped right through his hands. That's one the senior wideout is going to want back, and now it's a 4th and 11 for Taylorville. And does Jeb Odom want to go for it again? They went for it on a 4th and 13 last drive when they were just in Rochester territory, and now, once again, they're about 10 yards deep into Rochester territory, staring down a 4th and 11. And the offense is still out there, but granted, Brandon Odom does do the punting duties, but they're set up like they're going for it on a 4th down with 10:06 left in the half. Odom, quarterback draw all the way, runs it up the middle across the 45 and to the 30. He got tackled right at the marker, John, and he needed to get to the 28, and that's right where he was when he landed. We're just waiting on official spot. It's either going to be a first down for Taylorville or Rochester football.
I think that tackle pushed him just far enough. Are they going to bring out the chain gang for this one? If he has it by the nose of the football.
I think in a game like this, it's a quarterfinal. I think you do need to come out and measure it, despite the fact that Rochester's in full command on the scoreboard. But yeah, there is a flag that we missed down on the field. I believe it's against Taylorville.
Not sure even what the call was there.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure either. I didn't see a signal from the head official, and we didn't see the flag until well after the play, but that pushes Taylorville back 5 yards from where they were before they started the last play. Now, John, it's a 4th and 17 from the Rockets' 45. Brandon Odom still by himself in the shotgun. Jeb Odom just bringing everything out here with 9:47 left in the second quarter.
A lot of confusion by the offense as to what they want to do.
Odom takes the snap. Drops back with time to throw. Now he's pressured, trying to scramble away, and just shovels the ball forward as he was brought down for a sack, and that's an incompletion. And Yemi Odubison is clearly frustrated out on the field around the 40-yard line as the Tornado offense has had no success moving the football in the first half with 9:34 left to play.
Someone's going to have to get in Yemi Odubison's face and calm him down. You can't really have that out there, those, I'll say it, temper tantrums on the field. You're down 28-0. Everybody's feeling the same way. You've just got to kind of keep your composure.
Yeah, he is visibly frustrated down the field, just angrily pumping his fist downward out of frustration. That's the only way I know how to describe it. But here's Rochester from their own 45 on a 1st and 10. Bruno still in at quarterback, and it's going to be Parkinson in as the running back again, the freshman who saw some time on the last drive, or 2 drives ago. Bruno play action. Will pass, throwing down the left side of the field to Eddington, who catches it inside the 35 and tackled at the 30-yard line. A huge play by the standout wide receiver for Rochester.
I'll tell you what, Kaylor Jacobs was kind of lost in coverage, trying to cover 2 as Eddington beat his man off the line. Jacobs got there about the same time as the ball, but Eddington shows how strong of a possession receiver he can be.
1st and 10 from the Tornado 30. Bruno is going to hand it off to Parkinson up the left side, who stiff arms and gets the edge in a gain of about 4 before Will Kettlecamp and company push the back out of bounds. And a 2nd down upcoming for Rochester, who has yet to have a drive tonight where they don't score.
I'll tell you what, we thought that the Tornadoes might have been able to hold him to a field goal last time, but Bruno able to run on a 3rd down, just kind of turns his back and tries to scurry forward and gets the 1st down. They can't keep him out of the end zone for 6.
2nd and 7 from the 26. Bruno on the hard count. Out of the shotgun. Goes up to his line. Calls out a few signals before he resumes his position. Parkinson still in as the running back. Big snap to Bruno, who pitches out to the left side to Parkinson. Up the left side he goes across the 1st down marker and inside the 20 before he runs out of real estate and goes out of bounds in the sideline. And it's another 1st down for Rochester and a team that John just showing no signs of slowing down. Taylorville defense has just really been caught off guard all night by the speed of this offense. So it's a 1st and 10 now, just inside the 20 at about the 17 for Bruno. Takes the snap, play action, thrown out to Eddington on a screen, and it either hit the turf and went incomplete, or Bruno just caught it and fell down and was tackled by himself, I should say. Nobody really there to tackle him. He just fell on the ground. His knee was down, plays dead. But John, a flag down right next to the 20-yard line, and officials having a conversation. And
I think they're motioning towards Tornadoes.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on the head official until he makes the call here. And he's making a call now. He just says you have to signal which way it's going to go, and it's against the offense. Rockets working the opposite way after the penalty flag called against them. Not much happened on that play anyways because Cade Eddington had dropped the pass, but it pushes the Rockets back. It will stay 1st down. With 8:51 left to play in the second quarter, the Rockets lead by 4 touchdowns, 28-0. Here in the quarterfinal round of the IHSA state playoffs, what is dubbed as the Route 29 Rumble so far has not been a very close game at all.
It's been rumbling, just rumbling one way.
1st and 20. Bruno shotgun snap, hands off to Parkinson, the freshman back up the middle, puts the shoulder pads down and pushes just inside the 20-yard line. He gets before he was finally brought down by a handful of Taylorville players. The mess of tacklers in there on that play, but that's what it's taken to bring down a Rochester player so far tonight, John. You really have to wrap up on these tackles. 8:30 left. Bruno lines up on a 2nd and 11 in the shotgun formation. Takes the snap. Handoff goes to Parkinson around the left side. He goes with blockers ahead of him across the 15, across the 10. Slipped up down by his legs. Inside the 5-yard line he goes. And a 1st and goal upcoming for Rochester after the nice carry from the freshman.
Well, you mentioned needing to wrap up. Even if you do wrap up, you're going to get the top of the helmet right in your sternum. Might knock the wind out of you a little bit, and they're going to gain an extra 2 or 3 yards. We've been seeing it happen all night for the Rochester Rockets tailbacks.
Bruno, another handoff to Parkinson. Up the middle he goes and across the goal line, and it's over 30 points now tonight for Rochester. The offense is clicking and is looking like a state title contender here through the first quarter and a half with 8:05 remaining in quarter number 2, John.
Yeah, Harrison, I'll tell you what, I really thought that the winner of this game was going to end up going to the state championship game, whether it was Taylorville or whether it was Rochester. And right now, with Rochester firing on all cylinders, I don't think it matters who they play. They could be playing the University of Illinois at Champaign, and they'd be running amok on them.
That might be a bit over.
Have you seen Illinois football?
And I have, and they're probably all bigger than these Rochester players as Allwelt boots the PAT up and good. Allwelt, excuse me. So 35-0. Rochester pitching a shutout with 8:05 left in the second quarter. It's Tornado football on News Talk WTIM. Tornado football on News Talk WTIM.
Senior citizens of Christian County remain a vital part of the community, advocating and representing seniors. They provide quality services, non-emergency transportation, and strive to develop and implement interesting and valuable programs to all seniors. Activities and programs include exercise class, bridge, pinochle, bingo, bags, day trips, as well as health checks, a weekly congregate meal, movie outings, and much more. Senior citizens of Christian County.
Taylorville High School for the matchup between Rochester and Taylorville, two schools separated by about 19 miles along Route 29. And so far in this quarterfinal matchup, it's been all Rochester. The field has tilted heavily in favor of the away team. 8:05 left in this second quarter. They have a 35-0 lead on the scoreboard as they just scored once again for the fourth time tonight. It was Parkinson, the freshman, getting the touchdown. Here's Allwelts to boot away the next kickoff left to right down the field. O'Dubison back to return. Allwelt kicks it high into the near side this time. Will Kettlecamp gets underneath it. He'll try to return it as he runs out to the right side of the field, stiff-arming and shedding a tackler at the 32 and finally brought down at the 35. A lot of running for not a whole lot of yards, but good field position for Taylorville. Looking to just find any type of success on offense, trailing by 35.
A lot of east to west, not so much north and south there on that return by Will Kettlecamp. And Harrison, here's the deal. If you're the Tornadoes, if you can win this final 8 minutes of the first half, you get the ball to start the second half. I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but if you can, let's find a way to put 14 points on the board and keep them shut out at 0. You can get a touchdown to start the second half, then you're down by 2 scores early in the second.
Odom, 1st and 10, drops back from the 35, throws over the middle to Justin Wright, who was held by the shoulder pads, but no call. David Allen was in coverage there. And, John, that was clear-cut pass interference if I've ever seen it. I think the officials just missed one there.
And the thing is, you can't even say he blinked and missed it because it was a pass interference for about 2 or 3 seconds.
Allen had both left and right hands on the shoulder pads there and held Wright, who went up to try and catch it. So a 2nd and 10 now for Brandon Odom from his own 35-yard line after the incomplete pass toward Justin Wright. Odom will pitch out to Odubison, but the play is blown dead right away. I think there was some early movement on the Taylorville line.
I'll tell you, it's not going to sit well with the Tornadoes. That penalty being called on them and then the blatant pass interference missed on the call before.
So it'll move back, and that frustrates the home crowd who think they just missed out on a call on the other end of the field. And then Rochester gets one on the next play. And the false start was the right call to make, John, but the important one was the pass interference that wasn't called the play before. So here's a 2nd and 15 now back on the 30-yard line in the Taylorville side of the football field. Brandon Odom, shotgun formation, pitch out to Odubison on the right side. He's going to throw it back to Brandon Odom on a play action. And it's heaved down the field to Justin Wright, who catches it at the 30-yard line. Tackled right at the end of the play at the 25. It was the old pitch. Throw it backwards on the lateral. Back to your quarterback. Trick play. Heave it down the field to Justin Wright, who had ran. His speed was so fast, John. He had 3 defenders trailing him as he caught that ball in stride. And a huge first down picked up by Taylorville, which means Landmark at Taylorville donates another $10 to the Tornado Sports Boosters.
Probably the biggest $10 we've seen all year donated. See if that can flip the script here for the Tornadoes.
They trail by 35 with 7:27 left to play in the second quarter. 1st and 10 now from the Rochester 25. The biggest play all game from Taylorville. Odubison hypes the crowd up as Brandon Odom stands in the shotgun formation. Donnan in motion, right to left. Odom drops back, quick screen over to Milam. He runs up the field, but not before he's brought down by his knees, just inside the 25-yard line. 2nd down and roughly 7 coming up for Taylorville. So after the big play, a quiet one there.
Dalton Timon on that play, as well as Hunter Morgan trying to throw the block. Timon wasn't having any of it.
At the 23, on the right hash mark, Brandon Odom's in the shotgun formation with 3 wide receivers out to the left, and he throws it left to Justin Wright on the screen. He runs across the 20, gets inside to about the 18-yard line, where he was wrestled out of bounds at the end of the play by Tiemann. And a flag comes in at the end here, and I'm not quite sure who this one might be against. And now another flag flies in the air. We got 2 flags in the air, John, and Odubison, with the body language that he's showing, it looks like the flag's called against him, and he is clearly frustrated, arguing with quarterback Brandon Odom.
Well, and arguing with the head coach, and I don't know too many head coaches that take too kindly to that. It's going to be an offsetting, unsportsmanlike penalty on Yemi Odubison, and as well as, I believe, Talon Williams. He's got his armor to the side trying to say what he did. But, again, you got to get Yemi under control if you're the purple jerseys. He's an impact player. He's someone that you really need to have his head on right if you're going to turn this game around. And so far, he's kind of been a loose cannon.
In his high school career, he was at Bolingbrook for 3 years before coming to Taylorville. Got his first ever postseason win this year, and he's a little frustrated right now. You can understand why, trailing by 35. Here's a 3rd and a yard and a half from the 17. Odom, quarterback keeper on the shotgun snap, runs it inside the 10 before he's finally tackled at Eddington and tripped up to about the 5. First down for Taylorville. Friends at Landmark and Taylorville donate another $10 to the Tornado Sports Boosters. And knocking on the door for the first time tonight is Taylorville with 6:37 left in the second quarter, trailing by 35 against Rochester.
Yeah, knocking on the door, and if no one answers, I'll tell you what, the Tornadoes need to kick this door down. They have to get some points on the board here, and it's got to be 6. Can't settle for 3.
Brandon Odom's under center. Not typical that we see that with Herkert, who was just sent in motion to the outside. So Odom's under center with nobody behind him. 3 receivers out to the right. Quick snap and throw to Justin Wright on the right side of the field, who runs it into the end zone. And the Taylorville Tornadoes get on the board for the first time tonight. With 6:14 left to play, they trail now 35-6 after the Justin Wright touchdown.
And we'll see. They're going to go for the PAT here now, take the points, but we've seen this before where they've lined up for a PAT and some trickery in the book. Excellent score there. Excellent answer finally by the Tornadoes. It's coming a little late in the first half. but better late than never. And you know what? If you're the Tornadoes, you got to challenge your defense here. Haven't stopped them yet tonight. Got to find a way to, though, now.
And the PAT is missed way off to the left side. So 35-6 is where the score will stay. With 6:14 left in the quarter, Tornadoes trail, but get on the board for the first time tonight. It's Tornado football on News Talk WTIN.
Touchdown score this time. Go Tornadoes, fight on for our faith. Fight the last fight, let's win this game. Hey, let's
Crickets and more. Real estate inspections, pre-treatments, and free estimates. Rare Pest Control has been serving Christian and Shelby counties for over 25 years. When you need your pests gone for good, contact Rare Pest Control at 287-7368. Rare Pest Control.
It was Justin Wright on a screen out to the right side of the field as he caught the quick snap and throw from Brandon Odom and crossed the plane for the Tornadoes, who were in dire need of a score, to put it frankly. So 35-6, they trail Rochester. Their defense has yet to stop the Rockets, and they're going to have to try and do it again. Brandon Odom with the drop kick here, right to left for Taylorville. The first time they've been kicking away, and it's an onside kick. Goes 10 yards down the field. A dog pile over the football right at the 49, John, and the Tornadoes come up with the football.
That's huge. Absolutely huge play there. And what a gutsy call by head coach Jeff Odom, getting the crowd back into it. But you got to answer here if you're the Tornadoes.
You have to answer. You have to take advantage of it. But that is a huge momentum swinging play that the Tornadoes desperately needed, trailing 35-6 with 6:14 left in the second quarter. It went barely 10 yards, John, 11 yards down the field. That's where the Tornadoes jumped on top of it, right at the Rochester 49. Now, we're having an official discussion at midfield. All 5 officials were in having a discussion. Now they disperse, and it will be Taylorville football. No flags, and exactly what needed to happen there if you're the Tornadoes.
Where's the turnover trash can? This is one of the times where you got to dunk this one home.
Rochester, they lost 2 onside kicks in their game last week. And now they lose one here tonight.
Coach Leonard is holding the game up a little bit, talking to the head official. Just trying to kill the momentum.
Yeah, last week Rochester had an interception, a fumble, and they lost 2 onside kicks against Pontiac. Derek Leonard was frustrated. He said his team could have played better than they did, despite a comfortable win of 47-28 over Pontiac. But, yeah, Derek Leonard wanted to have a conversation with the officials over there after the onside kick, and now conversation has been wrapped up. Taylorville's back out on the field, 1st and 10 for the Rockets 49. Odom by himself in the shotgun, will throw to Odubison, and it's knocked incomplete. Lewis knocked it on the ground. Jack Kettlecamp came in for a completely unnecessary hit on Lewis after the play, and that's a flag going in the air, and it will be against Taylorville. And more frustrations being shown from Odubison, and Kettlecamp has got to keep himself in check on the hit there as Odubison goes to have a few words with his fellow tight end.
Yeah, you want to know the term irony. It's Jimmy Odubison trying to tell Jack Kettlecamp he needs to settle down right there. Obviously, he does. I never want to see anything like that, just frustration building there a little bit for the big tight end.
Yeah, Kettlecamp, Lewis was the quarterback in play, and he just disrupted the football away from Odubison.
And it was just a good play by Lewis, is one thing we want to point out. There was nothing dirty Lewis did. The ball was kind of floated out there by Brandon Odom on the screen pass, and Lewis got there the same time the ball did. Nothing malicious, nothing like that, but I guess Kettlecamp just took exception to it.
2nd and long here for Taylorville. They had it at the Rockets 49, and now they're back at their own 36 after the penalty. With 6:08 left in the first half, Taylorville trails 35-6. Brandon Odom, 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage, getting ready for the snap, but a timeout's called by Taylorville. And Jeb Odom wants to talk some things over with his offense before they get that next snap off on what's a 2nd and 25 when you measure it all the way out. 6:08 left in the second quarter. Make sure to be listening at the end of tonight's game when John will select our Central Illinois Smiles Family Dentistry Big Smile of the game. The play that put the biggest smile on our fans tonight. Make sure to ask about custom mouth guards for your athlete smile by contacting Doctors Lewis and Harmon at CISmiles.com. It has been a tough half, John, for Taylorville. They finally got some momentum off a trick play on a pitch to Odubison, a lateral back across field to Odom, who threw it downfield to Wright, which set up a touchdown later in the drive. And now they're continuing to struggle. But they recovered the onside kick, and I mentioned, John, they're continuing to struggle because they had the flag against them for the unnecessary roughness on Jack Kettlecamp. So 6:08 left here in this second quarter. Breaking the timeout is Taylorville. Rochester looking to make a big defensive stop. 2nd and 25 for Taylorville. Odom's in the shotgun formation. Odubison in motion. Play action. Odom rolls out to the right, throws to Herkert on a quick pass as he runs across the 40 and tackled by Eddington right at the 45-yard line. So that makes up about 9 yards on the 2nd and 25. So still quite a ways to go, roughly around 15 yards to get to the first down spot, but a nice pickup there for the Taylorville offense with an upcoming 3rd down.
And you're thinking here for the Tornadoes, you'd like to get all 16 of these on one play, but if you just get a chunk of let's say 8, cut it in half, you'd imagine they'd go for it on that 4th and 8.
From their own 45-yard line on a 3rd and 16. They need to get it to the Rockets' 39. Odom is by himself in the shotgun formation where he's been very, very familiar with that tonight. 3 receivers out to the left, 2 to the right. Odom dropping back to pass, running out of options, runs upfield across the 50-yard line, across the 40 now in Rockets territory, picks up the first down and slides at the 32. And at the end of the play, he took a shot from Jack Brusso. And we've got a flag down, John, back at the 44-yard line. And head official with the early signal says it's a holding against Taylorville. And now he confirms that as he faces the home stands and calls the holding.
Yeah, so Brandon Odom takes a lick there for nothing. And I found it interesting that sliding as a quarterback really doesn't do anything for you. You still end up taking those shots.
Well, it's better than standing up and getting knocked down to the ground. It alleviates some of the blow. But, yeah, he still took a hit there at the end of the play. It wasn't malicious or anything, just a football play. But that entire play negated. Brandon Odom had picked up a first down. Tornadoes, they needed 16 yards to get there, and it was negated by a holding call back where the play originated. And so now they're back within their own 35 to the 33. And a 4th and a mile coming up here for the offense as Brandon Odom and about half of the offensive players, everybody except for the offensive line, is over near the sideline getting the play call from head coach Jeb Odom.
28 yards to get that first down. You might be seeing some hook and laterals here.
Brandon Odom will be out of the shotgun. Justin Wright in at running back. And now he's motioned out as a wide receiver on the right side of the field. Odom dropping back to pass, a screen over the middle to right, and he gets hit immediately as he caught the football right at the 33-yard line. And so now it's 4th down back at Taylorville's 33. They originally started this drive on the Rockets' 49, and penalties brought them all the way back to where they are now. They lost more ground and didn't gain any this drive on a 4th and long upcoming, and you have to punt it here if you're Jeb Odom.
Absolutely, and you mentioned them kind of shooting themselves in the foot on that drive. They're going to have to get away from the screen game here. The Rockets are just sniffing it out way too easily.
Clean snap to Odom, back to punt, who boots it away to Cade Eddington, catches it at the 25, and it was fair caught, actually at the 26. That's where the Rockets will take over. And their offense has yet to be stopped tonight. And the Tornadoes had a great opportunity there, John, recovering the onside kick after scoring their first touchdown. And instead of scoring, they just went the wrong way down the football field, wind up having to punt it away and still trail 35-6 with 4:08 left in the second quarter. Bruno back out at quarterback. Shotgun formation for him, 1st and 10 from his own 26-yard line. Running back flanking him to his left, and he'll get the carry. Now throw it out to the right to Eddington. Eddington running downfield across the 30, and Kettlecamp will shoulder him down to the ground as Wright finishes off the tackle just across the 35 to the 37.
Home fans wanted a hold on the freshman Hank Beatty, but no luck there.
That catch and gain was enough for a first down for the Rockets once again. Bruno back in at quarterback in the no huddle, 1st and 10 from their own 37. 3 receivers out to the left, 1 to the right. Handoff is going to go to Gleason. Right up the middle he goes, spinning across his way, carrying tacklers with him as Kettlecamp finally brings him down at the 45. And a nice gain there for the Rockets, 3rd and 2 coming up, so a gain of 8 on the play, and not third and 2, second and 2. With 3:34 left to play in the first half, 35-6, Rockets lead. Bruno, 3 receivers out to his left, 1 more to his right. Play action, throwing left, out to Lewis, who catches it and runs across the 45, now across the 50 with speed, out to the 40-yard line where he was pushed out of bounds and got another first down for the Rockets. We're still working on this drive with 3:16 left in the second quarter and a 35-6 advantage in favor of the away team. It's not much of a road game when it's about a 20-minute drive to get out here, and it looks like their entire fan section has made it out. You see them on the far side of the field. And here's a 1st and 10 from the Taylorville 40. Bruno will hand it off over to Gleason, who runs it out to the left side up the sideline. He goes, and my apologies, that is not Gleason on the carry as he was shoved just inside the 35-yard line out of bounds. That is Jacob DeRocher. He made it to about the 32-yard line. So 2nd and short upcoming. Need to get 2 yards if you're the Rockets with 2:48 left in the first half. Bruno, shotgun snap. He's going to give it again to his running back, who stumbles his way across the 30 and down just inside the 25. DeRocher on the carry once again.
So what if it ain't broke, don't fix it. They've got the formula. Keep rotating the backs, keep handing it off. It's working for them.
They got the ball to start the game, so they'll kick off to start the second half in a 1st and 10 from the 22. Bruno, shotgun formation again. He's going to hand it off, this time to Gleason, who runs it up the right side of the field, and he shakes a tackler and gets finally brought down by Wright at the 5-yard line with a flag coming in at the end of the play.
This really hasn't been a clean game for either side. The Tornadoes offense, plenty of penalties, and we mentioned specifically on that last drive after they recovered the onside kick. And then for the Rochester Rockets as well, plenty of holds, plenty of block in the backs, but they just seem to really overcome them and persevere and find their way to get into the end zone for 6.
Yeah, Gleason a little shaken up on that play for Rochester. He goes over to the sideline. Also shaken up on the play was their center, Quentin Boxman, the only senior on their offensive line. By the way, there was a flag down that I mentioned. It's against Rochester. They're pushed back to the Tornado 25. So it'll stay a first down, no first down gained there. And instead of a 1st and goal, it's a 1st and 15. From the near hash mark, working left to right is Bruno and his offense. Roshan, the running back, he gets the carry out to the left side. He'll take it, and he just gets a short gain on the play before he was brought down for a gain of about 3.
Tell you what, this running game's been really effective for the Rockets. Yeah, it's gotten them in for 6, but it's also really eaten a lot of clock.
Yeah, under 2 minutes left to play. The first half, John, 35-6, Rochester leads. A chance to score before they go into the locker room and warm up here tonight. Bruno by himself in the shotgun now. 3 receivers out to the left, 2 more to the right. 2nd and 11 from the 22-yard line. Bruno, low snap. It's going to be a screen set up on the outside. The receiver will take it all the way inside the 10. And on the reception there, for Rochester, that's Taylor Williams. They've thrown the screen his way a few times tonight. Now we've got an injured player down in the field for Taylorville, just inside the 10-yard line on the far side of the field. We will take a break as Jeb Odom and training staff will go attend to him. It's Tornado Football on News Talk WTIN for Taylorville inside the 10-yard line.
Davis Memorial Christian Church congratulates Taylorville football on their fantastic season. Christian is cheering the team on for continued success. Fantastic season. Davis Memorial Christian is cheering the team on for continued playoff success. Davis Memorial Christian invites you to check out our worship service. We meet every Sunday at 10:15 a.m. Also, we invite you to check us out on Facebook or our website, davismemorialchristian.org. Come as you are. Come make a difference. Come to Davis Memorial Christian. Go Tornadoes. On to victory.
And Brandon Odom has walked out onto the field, and he's talking to his huddle just inside the 5-yard line. 1:31 is left here in this first half, 35-6. It's been all Rochester, and we'll continue to fill here while we wait to get this injury sorted out down on the field just inside the 10-yard line. Again, not sure who it is, but it is a Taylorville player, and whatever it is, we hope the best of health for them and hope they wind up okay as Rochester their offense was out of the huddle. They're going to go over to their sideline and talk with Derek Leonard. Taylorville defense is now going to go do the same thing as they'll go to their sideline. But, John, it's been a fast-paced game because Rochester has dominated time of possession, and they run a no-huddle offense, so they're a very fast-paced offense. So let's slow down here a little bit and talk about what's unfolded here through about the first 2 quarters of play. Again, 1:31 left in the second quarter, 35-6. We've got an injury timeout on the field, but the defending state champs have the lead. And, John, what is it about this Rochester offense that has just made them so successful tonight?
Oh, we've said it all throughout. I mean, it's been a heavy run offense with just a pinch of passing game as well. And passing game has been just dangerous enough, rather, so the Tornadoes can't stack the box. It's easy to take away one factor of a game. If you want to try to take away the passing game, you can do that. If you want to try to take away the running game, you can do that as well. Obviously, you got to go probably with a dime defense to stop the passing game, or you got to stack the box, rather, to stop the run. But it's really just been a great balance for the Rockets. And you want to talk about getting some fresh legs in there, just rotating backs, whether it's Yoghurst, who's had a terrific game tonight, Gleason as well, and the sophomore. My goodness, that does not look like a sophomore. I feel bad for the competition. He's got to face 2 more years. They have to go up against that big bruising back, averages 10 yards a carry on the season. He averages a first down when he gets a handoff.
Taylor Jacobs, the injured player for Taylorville, and he is walking off the field under his own power. But clearly a lot of time spent with him while he was down on the ground. But back out on the field is Rochester with a 1st and goal, football at the 9-yard line. Bruno back in the shotgun formation. DeRocher, the running back, to his right. 3 receivers out to the left. And there should have been a false start call there, John. It's a hard count by Bruno, and DeRocher, the running back, took a quick step forward before he jumped back into position. We've seen that call go against Herkert for Taylorville multiple times this season. No call there, though, as Bruno takes the snap. Handoff goes to DeRocher. Up the middle, he bruises his way, but gets stood up right at the goal line. Bouchon, not the goal line, the line of scrimmage. Bouchon, one of the players in there to make the stop after the brief pause in the action. So a 2nd and goal. No gain on the play for DeRocher and the Rockets offense.
Yeah, first time I ever feel like we've called Bouchon's name tonight. Again, he's one of the front 8 or front 7, rather. That's normally on the play. But with what's been going on so much downfield, the runs, they normally get past Bouchon tonight.
Bruno back in the shotgun formation, and we've learned that number 11 is actually David Yoghurst. So forget everything we said about a freshman running back being in the game. David Yoghurst is a 5'10", 178-pound junior who just swapped the jersey number tonight. He's to the left of Bruno now, who stands in the shotgun formation, 2nd and goal. Bruno running out to the left side, keeps it himself inside the 5 and falls across the plane to the goal line. That's a Rockets touchdown again, and they go up to 41 points on the night with 11 seconds left to play in the first half. And despite that 1 touchdown for Taylorville, it has been all Rochester tonight.
Yeah, we thought when we saw that touchdown from the Tornadoes, we might have been seeing something turn around. They even followed it up with an onside kick recovery. But I'll tell you what, Rochester's just having their way.
They really are. The offense has yet to be stopped. They've scored on every single possession tonight.
And let's say this as well. These are 2 teams that are familiar with each other. It's not like they haven't seen each other in years. They used to share the same conference, being in the Central State 8. So it's not like this is foreign ground for Rochester.
All else on the PAT. It is up and good through the uprights. 42-6. Rockets lead with 11 seconds left in the half. And the last time these 2 teams met was in 2013. It was in the postseason. That was the 2nd time they met that year, John. Being in the Central State 8, they had played earlier that season as well. And Taylorville dropped both matchups to them. They had also played 3 times before that. They're 0-5 against Rochester. They have never secured a win against this talented team from just outside Springfield, 20 minutes down the road. Again, one reason that makes this game so special, you're into the Elite 8, if you want to call it that, of the high school state playoffs. It's the quarterfinal round, so not a whole lot of teams left, but these 2 teams who are in such close proximity together but haven't played in about 5 years meeting tonight. And you really see the crowd turn out tonight, and it hasn't thinned out over on the Rochester side. It's being up in the press box. It's kind of tough to see the Taylorville side, but there are fans who have lined the fence all around the field to come out and see this game, as there was a lot of hype A lot of implications around it, obviously, because it's a playoff game. But 42-6, Rochester just has come out in full command with 11 seconds left in the first half. Allwelts will kick it away left to right. Odubison back to return. Allwelt right foot into it, just squibs it, and Milam just falls to his knees and then falls on top of the football at the 35. And with 11 seconds left in the first half, we'll see, does Jeb Odom want to have his offense take a shot downfield, or do you just hand it off to your back, take a knee, get this thing into halftime, and re-corral the troops, trailing 42-6?
They still got one timeout left. You'd like to see them put up a little bit of a fight, even if it is just 11 seconds. Show that you're not really out of it. You don't really want to see them taking a knee. Maybe see if Odom's got a trick up his sleeve like he did with the fake hook and ladder.
Odom, shotgun formation with 11 seconds left in the half from his own 35. Play is blown dead before the snap comes off, and it is a timeout. Rochester. Rockets take a timeout with a 42-6 point lead. We'll take one as well. It's Tornado Football on News Talk WTIM. News Talk WTIM.
High school.
How are we doing? I think good. Hi.
Prairie Farms milk, flavored milk, cottage cheese, yogurt, dip, sour cream, and 100% Florida orange juice all provide lots of protein, vitamins, and minerals for the game or day-to-day activities. Choose farmer-owned Prairie Farms dairy products.
To join us at halftime, but with 11 seconds left in this half, out of the timeout comes Taylorville, and Rochester now in a prevent defense. They've got 4 players all the way back at their own 35-yard line. Now make it 3. One comes in closer. But Odom will take the shotgun snap. It's just a quick throw over to Justin Wright, who will be tackled and brought down at the 35. No gain on the play. Forward progress might give him a gain of 2, but shouldn't matter, John, unless Jeb Odom called a timeout here. He just did. 4 seconds left in the half. He wants to still take a shot despite trailing 42-6.
I'll tell you what, that's one thing you love about Coach Odom. He never really sees himself as out of being out of any game, and he's going to keep fighting until that last whistle, until they finally say that the season's over. It's not over until they finally tell him that. He's going to keep his team going and fighting hard, and you love to see that from your head coach. Hopefully the players can respond to it.
Yeah, you want to keep fighting in games like these, play for every inch, every yard you can get when it's postseason, and yeah, you don't want to kind of fold, so to speak, going into halftime by just running the clock out. Jeb Odom, yeah, he wants to make every single second on that clock worth it here in this second half, no matter what the score is, given the implications of this game, because you never know what could happen with 2 quarters left to play. Odom will be all alone in the shotgun formation once again from his own 37. Clean pocket to throw. Now he's going to look upfield and still running, eluding tacklers. Will pitch it back to Odubison now with the lateral. Room to run across the 45, and Odubison gets tackled out of bounds. And that's going to do it for the first half of play. A bit of an awkward play there, but that's what brings us into halftime, 42-6. Taylorville trails. The News Talk WTIM halftime shows up next. It's Tornado Football on News Talk WTIM. Halftime WTIM.
Ladies and gentlemen, taking the field, 2008 Tornado Marching Band under the direction of Mr. Chris Gunn and drum majors Kara Vecco and Tyler Sherbert. In honor of tomorrow's Veterans Day holiday, the Tornado Marching Band will be performing music tonight to honor America's veterans. We would like to take this moment to recognize all veterans in attendance at tonight's game. If you have served or are serving in our country's military, would you please stand? Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a big round of applause and appreciation for the veterans in attendance this evening. Drum Major Sheriff Veteran Tyler Sherbert, is your band ready? Tornado Marching Band, the field is yours. This very hit, Simple Melody of Perfect Revenge, is one of the most popular modern patriotic songs of the 20th century. Originally written in 1918, revised for singer Kate Smith, and reintroduced during the radio broadcast on Armistice Day, November 11, 1938. Hardly an American alive has not sung it sometime during his or her life. We dedicate this song in honor of all who served to protect the freedom of our great country. Here's the patriotic favorite, God Bless America. The next selection from the band is a medley of the patriotic hits, My Country 'Tis of Thee, The Battle Hymn of the Republic, and America the Beautiful. Welcome the THS dance team, coached by Heather Odom. Tonight the dance team will be performing to the Rolling Stones classic, Paint a Flag. Will be performing to the Rolling Stones classic, Paint a Flag. Yeah. I have no idea. Now please stand, join the band, the dance team, and the cheerleaders in the Taylorville High School fight song. Go Tornadoes!
Dream. I mean, the tailbacks of Yoggers, of Gleason, and DeRocher, when they went to bed last night, they could not have dreamed a better first half for them offensively, at least as tailbacks. And we've even seen the passing game get on it a little bit as well. Riley Lewis has made some big receptions. Cade Eddington, we knew he was going to do okay today. And I believe Talon Williams, you said, had a couple touchdown receptions as well, if not just the one. But I mean, it's really been this balanced attack, and that's the toughest part for this Tornadoes defense because they've seen good offenses this year. Mount Zion is one that comes to mind. They had a strong running game, but that was just the one back, and Sage Davis that you knew you could stack the box and say, okay, you know what, we don't want Sage Davis to be the one to beat us. We're going to try to make the quarterback find a way to beat us downfield. And you know what? You remember Sage Davis's name, but you don't remember the quarterback's name, which is probably why they ended up winning that contest. And Davis ended up having still a decent game. But
he had a very good game, but yeah, the workload that Mount Zion had given him then could not be sustained. But with Rochester, we have seen 3 different running backs touch the football, and then also their 4th running threat, and that's in no particular order either. Any of these backs and quarterback can get the ball at any time, but their quarterback is that 4th threat to run the football as well. So the question then becomes, well, how do you slow this down? Because any of these players can get the ball. They all run differently, but they're all very good at what they do.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you said it best. I was going to take that comment about Sage Davis a step further to mention, and that's the one back. You know, when Sage Davis gets tired, he has to leave the game for Mount Zion. All right, then you bring in, a lesser back that you can say, okay, we can not necessarily relax, but this isn't like trying to tackle the truck that is Sage Davis, but it's just a rotation of these 3 backs, and the one I've been most impressed with is the sophomore, Jacob DeRocher. I mean, only a sophomore tailback, and that dude, Dude's bigger than Sage Davis, who we saw there this year for Mount Zion. And you mentioned Bruno as well. He's done a little bit through the passing game, not a whole lot, nothing to really write home about, a couple touchdown passes. But really, you mentioned that when you've got a dual threat quarterback like that, it's a different dual threat than Brandon Odom, because Brandon Odom will do some design QB draws straight up the middle, and he'll find a hole, and he'll kind of try to power his way through. Bruno, it's more elusive. It's more, hey, a play's breaking down. Okay, little scurries forward. Yeah, you like a little scurries forward for that first down, and that's really just a tough thing to do, because as the defensive ends, you got to keep contain and got to set the edge, and if you don't, Bruno can bust it outside. But at the same time, we saw a couple plays there in that first half where they did set the edge, and Bruno ran it up the middle and was able to pick up a first down. I mean, it's really pick your poison, and Bruno, the quarterback, and the offense as a whole, really just kind of having their way with this Tornadoes defense. And we'll see what they come out with here in the second half, if the Tornadoes even have an answer.
We will see, and we will talk about it next. It's 42-6, Rochester coming on the road, but with a huge advantage on the scoreboard here at halftime. This is the News Talk WTIM halftime show.
Understand the need for life insurance, but not many want to talk about why it's essential to your financial plan. It may seem intimidating, but it doesn't have to be. Don't be overwhelmed. Get started with Country Financial. Call Doug McKenney today at 217-287-2332, and he can work with you to find life insurance that gives you the protection you need at a price you can afford. Life insurance policies issued by Country Life Insurance Company and Country Investors Life Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois.
Hi, this is Bob at Apple Auto Service. We offer brake service, wheel alignment, shock and strut replacement, ball joints, hub bearings, and springs. Apple Auto Service. We do oil changes, flush radiators with new antifreeze, chains, transmission filters, and Apple Auto Service. We install air filters and wiper blades. Apple Auto Service. Oh yeah, we install mufflers, exhaust, and custom exhaust too. So come to Apple Auto Service and let us get your car ready for driving ahead. Apple Auto Service, where quality and value go the extra mile for you.
Yes. Now they've got an outrageous
Quality and value go the extra mile for you.
Yes, Behind Locked Doors is excellent escape rooms, but now they've got an outrageous rage room too. Rage Cagers in Taylorville are having a blast, smashing their stress to bits and pieces. You're next. Release that bottled up stress. Behind Locked Doors unlocks a healthy green way to have a smashing day. There's restrictions, but you can tag team with a friend, and others can watch. Details at BehindLockedDoorsLLC.com. BehindLockedDoorsLLC.com. The Rage Cage. Brand new at Behind Locked Doors. 115 South Clay in Taylorville.
Hi, this is Will Perkins. Have you ever wondered, why doesn't glue stick to the inside of the bottle? There's no wonder why so many people stick with Taylorville Community Credit Union for their financial needs. We keep your money local, offer low loan rates, higher deposit rates, and a lot more. Membership is open to anyone who lives or works in Christian, Shelby, or Montgomery counties. We are conveniently located in Taylorville, Hillsborough, and Litchfield, or you can visit us online at TaylorvilleCommunityCreditUnion.com. Come join us. You'll wonder why you waited.
Member NCUA.
Welcome back to the News Talk WTIM halftime show. John Bone is alongside me. Harrison Silcox here for tonight. What really has not been a close game at all. Rochester 42, Taylorville 6 at the half, and it has been tough going for the Tornado offense all night long, John. But we saw Jeb Odom at the end of that first half get every single second on the clock that he possibly could. With 4 seconds left, he called a timeout to try and take another shot downfield. It didn't quite work out. Brandon Odom had to run for a few yards before lateral to Odubison, who eventually was chased out of bounds. You know this team's going to scratch and claw as much as they can all the way to the finish line tonight, no matter what that scoreboard shows, because that's what you do when you're hosting the defending state champions in the quarterfinal round of the playoffs. But really, other than the one scoring drive, the offense hasn't really gotten much going. Where do you look if you're Jeb Odom, head coach, calling the plays for this team, if you're trying to get some more points on the board?
You got to get the ball in the hands of your athletes, whether it's jet sweeps for Justin Wright and Yemi Odubison, or we've seen the screen routes. We've seen the screens be called, and they've just been sniffed out a couple of times. I can't really think of a screen route that got them even any positive yardage. I know one went to Ethan Milam. He was tackled right away. The 2 to Justin Wright, or 3 to Justin Wright, rather. He might have a total of 4 yards on those receptions. So you're going to have to do a little something downfield. Again, being down by 36 points, you don't really have the luxury of nickel and diming your way down the field. I mean, you can try that. Obviously, any points are good points, but especially you got to try to find a way to get the ball in your playmakers' hands with some space. One play in particular that's sticking out to me is when the Tornadoes were down here in the red zone. They were on the left hash, and they had both Yemi Odubison and Justin Wright on the left side as wide receivers. And it's kind of limiting the mobility they have, or the space they have to work with, rather, on that left side. See if they, more so in the second half, send them to the opposite side, the open side, or they got more room to maneuver and work with and possibly lose their defender.
One thing that makes it tough in the passing game for Taylorville, you have Cade Eddington, who's back there at safety for the Rockets, but also Riley Lewis in at cornerback. He is a guy that Derek Leonard and defensive coordinator for Rochester, Steve Bucher, they absolutely love him at quarterback. And even though Riley Lewis is just 5'8", they don't care who the wide receiver is. They've matched him up on players throughout his career that have been 6'4", 6'5". They don't care what it is. He's a shutdown corner, and that's what he does. He's one of the best in the state at it, one of the best in 4A. And so far, he has quieted the storm that is the Taylorville passing game. When you're going up against a corner as skilled as that, who's 5'8", but can blanket a guy who's 6'5", what challenge does that present for Jeb Odom and his offense?
Well, I'll tell you kind of got to shut down that side of the field, almost like a Darrelle Revis. You remember when he was in his prime with the Jets? He had his own island, for goodness sake, where wide receivers would go on vacation for a game and kind of just be shut down. But we'll see if they want to pick on David Allen. It's been interesting. David Allen has been on Yemi Odubison all night. It's whatever side of the field. See, normally you'll see, okay, there's a left corner and a right corner where they're going to stay on that side of the field the entire game. But no, Riley Lewis is following Justin Wright around like a shadow. And the only real explosive play we saw from Justin Wright was on the trick play where they pitched it to Odubison, and then Odubison pitched it back to Odom, and Wright was able to sneak past the coverage a little bit. And then David Allen has been following Yemi Odubison around like a shadow as well. I mean, it's really a difficult thing to do, and you got to have someone else step up if Wright and Odubison are going to be shut down.
We will see who or if someone can step up here in the second half against Rochester's stingy defense. As the second half is just about underway, Taylorville will return their special teams unit out on the field, just waiting on Rochester now. But this is a stingy defense that the Rockets possess. And Pontiac, a team who averaged just over 40 points a game on the season, they were held to just 28 against Rochester last week. And that was in a game where the Rockets, they had 4 turnovers. And Derek Leonard thought they just frankly didn't play up to their full potential. And tonight, I think Leonard is probably much more pleased, except for the onside kick that was recovered by Taylorville. Other than that, not a whole lot of complaints for his offense or his defense. So this is really a true-to-form Rochester team who has come out tonight with very few mistakes and showing why they're defending state champions. But they will be kicking away to start this second half, John. It's Allwelt, the kicker, from right to left, who will boot it with his right foot back down to Odubison.
It's interesting they're standing clustered together.
Yeah, Justin Wright.
Oh, there they go.
Yeah, then also, Kaylor Jacobs, who breaks it to the outside. All right, now the kick is underway. Allwelt will just squib it downfield, and Kettlecamp will fall on top of it and take a knee. Jack Kettlecamp, that is. 2 Kettlecamps on this Tornado team. But the Tornado offense comes out on the 32 to start the third quarter. Brandon Odom, you wonder, what did he tell his team and the locker room at halftime? He is a vocal leader when it comes to this stuff. We've talked with Jeb about what Brandon says to his teammates when they're in the locker room at halftime, how he gets them motivated. Did he have some special words for this game tonight? 1st and 10 from the 32, play action. Odom throws over the middle. Caught left to play in the third quarter. John, that's the Tornado offense we were accustomed to seeing all season long.
And you'll see Yemi Odubison, he got that play. He got that reception, rather, with some space. You see what happens when your playmakers get the ball with some green grass to maneuver around with, or I guess we should say turf at this field. But, he turned on the Jets after that reception. Cade Eddington is no slouch in terms of speed, but he was eating dust that whole way down the sideline.
A huge reception from Odubison. Odom to attempt the extra point. Bad snap to Kettlecamp, who corrals it. The kick was just barely squeaked across the crossbar, John. That was a bullet of a kick, and he just barely got it between the uprights.
I thought it went under it.
42-13, Taylorville trying to inch their way back in that one, and you're going to need some drives like that to come back when you allow 42 points in the first half. Quick scores. The one-play drive that winds up being a touchdown. Obviously, you can't do that every time, but the huge reception by Odubison makes this one interesting for now.
And obviously, the biggest part, though, that score is great. You love seeing that, but your defense has to retaliate as well, or rather follow suit, that is, and keep the Rockets out of the end zone.
I'd like to remind you about Milling Millwork Contracting Incorporated, providing professional quality craftsmanship. They're located at 405 West Main Cross in Taylorville, fully insured and bonded. That's Milling Millwork Contracting Incorporated, a proud sponsor of the Taylorville Tornadoes. As we reset here, 11:49 left in the third quarter. Taylorville trailing 42-13, but just got the big touchdown after Yemi Odubison took the reception from Brandon Odom. And as you mentioned, John, in space, but here's an onside kick again from Taylorville, and the football did not go the full 10 yards. Taylorville says they have it.
But I wonder if a Rocket touched the ball. I don't think they did.
Yeah, no signal yet and no celebration from Taylorville, and no flag in the play either. The football didn't go far enough downfield, but yeah, you assume that a Rocket probably jumped on top of it first. But they hold possession there. They hold steady. So despite losing the two onside kicks last week against Pontiac in the second round of the playoffs and losing the one earlier in the first half, they keep this one on their side. 1st and 10, Bruno and his offense will take over from the Taylorville 48. Bruno with Yogers accompanying him to his right. Two receivers out to the right, two more to the left. Bruno takes the low snap, will drop back to pass, throwing wide open to Lewis, who gets underneath it and catches it while falling down at the 26. And a quick answer for the Rochester offense.
Yeah, that was Herkert getting burnt in coverage. Not normally out there defensively, at least here recently. We saw him at linebacker early on a little bit, but if it's Riley Lewis against Herkert, you'd give the advantage to Lewis as a receiver.
Bruno back into the shotgun formation. Play action will throw out to Lewis on the screen to the right side, who runs up across the 20-yard line, now across the 15. Stiff arms right, and into the end zone he goes. And a quick answer from Rochester. And that's the dangerous part about this team. You can score points, John, but you have to figure out a way to stop them on defense. 11:26 left to play, 48-13. Rochester builds once again on the scoreboard.
I'll tell you what, they're perfect in terms of getting in for 6. Scored on all of their offensive drives in the first half, and tell you what, they're not missing any strides here in the second. 2 plays to go that 49 yards to get into the end zone.
We've seen 3 offensive snaps total this second half and 2 touchdowns to show for it. All Welts to kick the extra point. And early movement, flags in the air. We'll see who the call is on.
Looks like the offensive line started moving on that right side before the left side of that defensive line did for the Tornadoes. We'll see what the call is.
Yeah, there was movement out on the right side of that offensive line. And
is the offense coming back out now?
Looks like it's against Rochester, but some player exchanges being made, and I think that Rochester's going to go for 2 here. Now being pushed back. They don't want to take a chance at missing an extra point, so
I think they just figured they've got more room to work with now.
That as well. Either way, Derek Leonard likes what he sees and going for the 2-point conversion here with a 48-13 lead. 11:26 left to play in the third. Rochester, defending state champs, 4th seed in the South bracket in the IHSA 4A state playoffs. And Bruno in the shotgun formation. Yogers, the running back, out to his right. Bruno takes the snap. He'll roll out to the right side of the field. Throw and caught for the completed 2-point conversion. That's Beatty in on the reception. Kalen Williams coming away with the reception. Successful 2-point conversion. 50 points on the board now. 11:26 left to play in the third quarter. It's Tornado football on News Talk WTIN.
Accidents are unexpected, but when you choose Taylorville Memorial Hospital, you always know what to expect. Our emergency team has the talent and technology to quickly diagnose, treat, and get you on the road to recovery. And for the most severe injuries, our connection to the trauma team at Memorial Medical Center ensures you get the expertise you need. Remember, when activity leads to an accident, you have the power to choose. Choose Taylorville Memorial Hospital, a powerful choice for healthcare.
To respond to the Tornadoes touchdown in this second half, 50-13. As Clay Allwelts gets ready to kick away again. We've said his name a lot tonight, John, and he's just been kicking PATs and kickoffs because the amount of points that have been scored for Rochester. His name keeps coming up. He'll kick it right to left as he did to start the half. And he'll kick it away now. High kick down the middle. Jack Kettlecamp gets underneath it. He'll return it and falls forward to about the 32. And we've seen 2 touchdowns this half, John. Only 40 seconds have gone by on the game clock. Just think about that for a moment with these 2 offenses, how ridiculous that is to be able to do that, but they possess the players to do so.
Yeah, and unfortunately for most of the game, it's been all Rochester. And as soon as the Tornadoes come out and show some life offensively to start the second half, Rochester puts the foot back down.
1st and 10, Odom will pass, throws out to Odubison, and it went right in between his hands and slipped incomplete at the 40-yard line. Would have maybe been a gain of 3 had it been completed. But with 11:15 now showing on the clock, Taylorville's got a 2nd and 10 coming up from their own 37, trailing 50-13. Shotgun formation once again for Brandon Odom. Herkert is his running back. Odom, quick snap, throw to right, over the middle, caught at the 49. Eddington finished off the tackle over the middle of the field. And a 3rd and 3 coming up for the Tornadoes.
I'll tell
That's
you what,
a 44. My apologies.
it's not often that you see a game like this where Justin Wright can't get that separation and can't really find a way to get any yards after the catch. And hats off to the Rochester Rockets. It's as soon as any purple jersey touches a ball, it is a swarm of white jerseys bringing them down.
Solo shotgun for Brandon Odom. 5-step drop back, still dropping back, pressured, scrambling out, throwing cross field, and incomplete. Pass was deflected before it was able to get to Blake Donnan. And another nice stand from this Rockets defense. They have just been all over the football tonight. Jack Brusso in coverage there. 4th and 3 from the Tornado 44. Jeb Odom, decision to make. Do you go for it here, John? Down 50-13.
Yeah, you kind of have to. I mean, you got to throw caution to the wind now. What's the point of flipping the field when you're down by 37 like you are?
They will go for it for now. It appears that way. 4th and 3 from the Tornado 44. Brandon Odom in the shotgun and a 5-wide receiver set. 3 to the right, 2 more out to the left. It's Odubison and Wright out to the left. Odom dropping back to pass. Will throw downfield to Milam, and it is picked off, caught in between the knees of David Allen.
Interesting to go with Ethan Milam, the sophomore, on the double move. Just couldn't get any separation. That's been a go-to play for the Tornadoes all season long with Yemi Odubison and Justin Wright. They tried to dial up Milam's number tonight, and it's just unsuccessful. A great play there by David Allen, his 2nd interception of the season, and the 12th interception of the year for that Rochester defense.
The football was caught at the hands, then dropped out of David Allen's hands into his knees, where he just folded his legs together to haul in the reception as he fell to the ground. Now here's a handoff and a big gain for DeRoche, and he's going to run across the 50-yard line, and Bouchon finally tripped him up. Excuse me, that is not Bouchon in there on the tackle for Taylorville, but a huge gain there for the running back for the Rockets, and they're just going to keep working it down to the Tornado 45.
Kyle Durbin almost had his arm taken off there by DeRoche on the run. A shoestring tackle. He might think twice about doing that. Powerful legs there for the sophomore tailback.
That is not Bruno in at quarterback. That's Brock McKinney now out of the shotgun formation. From the Tornado 45, 1st and 10, handoff goes to DeRoche again, and he's going to run it now inside the 35 before he finally gets pushed back and brought down. Forward progress will put him right at the 1st down, and now a flag comes into the air late. And I saw Herkert just kind of throw his hands up in the air, John, for Taylorville. if that body language is any indication of what the flag could be, you would assume it's against the Tornadoes.
Well, head coach Derek Leonard was running down the sideline, pointing at something on the. Of course, it's the far sideline, so we can't exactly see what's happening with the masses of bodies on the ground over there. But you're wondering if a Tornado player jumped on the tackle there a little late.
You have to wonder.
Pretty lengthy discussion for it.
They're having quite the conversation down there right around the 35. And it's going to be a penalty against Taylorville. And it's a dead ball foul, personal foul against the Tornadoes. Football will move all the way to the 20-yard line on the right hash mark. Brock McKinney back in the shotgun formation, a 5'10", 140-pound senior, backup quarterback for Rochester. But given the numbers they put up on the scoreboard, he's seen plenty of game action this season, despite not being the starter. Kenny will be in the shotgun formation. Dalton Teeman in at running back, flanking him off to his right. Two receivers out to the left as Teeman will just get the carry up the middle across the 10, streaking his way inside the 5, sheds a few tacklers on his way to the end zone. And 56-13, Rochester builds on the lead with 9:17 left in the third quarter clock.
Tell you what, he just followed his blockers there, and then once he finally saw that the end zone was in sight, turned on the jets and broke a couple of arm tackles. You're going to have to try to get in front of a Rochester Rocket tailback if you want to bring them down. I got to tell you, whatever these running backs are eating, I'd imagine it's got to be Wheaties or something of the sort. It is definitely working because whoever their tailback coach is, whoever works with the running backs in practice, they really know what they're working with.
The running game has paid dividends tonight for Rochester. Absolutely dominating. Extra point from Allwell on the way and good. He remains perfect on the day, as well as Rochester's offense. 57-13 with 9:17 left in the third quarter. Rockets on top. Huge. It's Tornado football on News Talk WTIN.
30.
Yep.
Davis Memorial Christian Church congratulates Taylorville football on their fantastic season. Davis Memorial Christian is cheering the team on for continued playoff success. Davis Memorial Christian invites you to check out our worship service. We meet every Sunday at 10:15 a.m. Also, we invite you to check us out on Facebook or our website, davismemorialchristian.org. Come as you are.
Some type of raffle.
Well, they just did the 50-50 announcement. They weren't even my tickets. They were Mayor Barry's because apparently he's not paying enough attention to do it himself. But I might start running into some 50-50s from now on.
Yeah. So Mayor Bruce Barry was not a winner on the raffle tonight. John, the way you reacted, I thought you were hoping to win.
Well, I may have mentioned something to Mayor Barry about if I am holding his tickets, I deserve a cut. Okay. But there was some vested interest in it for me. I will just say that.
57-13, Rochester leads. Allwell to kick it away and squibs it right to left. Will Kettlecamp will have the ball skip off his hands, but another Upman gets underneath it right at the 30 to keep it in possession of Taylorville. And Brandon Odom will go back out onto the field, and what will most likely be the end of the Tornadoes' very successful season this year. And Brandon Odom, is he heading back to the sideline, or is he? No, he's just talking to Jeb Odom. They trail 57-13, and I mentioned, their season possibly coming to an end for Brandon Odom. It's the end of a road on what has been a very spectacular high school career for him. And at quarterback for Taylorville, set all kinds of records, including breaking his uncle's records, his uncle being his head coach, Jeb Odom. Here's a 1st and 10 from the 30, though. Brandon Odom will pump fake, scramble out to the right, throw downfield to Odubison, who missed the catch again right at the 45. That's a second consecutive drop, and you think he probably could have had that.
Yeah, it would have been a spectacular catch. Brandon Odom maybe led him just a little bit too much, but you expect your athletes to go out and make those plays. And Odubison, I know if Odubison's going back to the huddle, he'd say, yeah, I should have had that one.
2nd and 10 from the Tornado 31. Brandon Odom will be in the shotgun formation again, accompanied by a running back to his left. Dropping back to pass, a screen to the right to Odubison, running across the 35, carrying tacklers with him to the 45, where he picked up the first down. I haven't mentioned it a whole lot tonight, but our friends at Landmark John donate another $10 to the Tornado Sports Boosters. Remember, John, you always do better at Landmark.
We've got a
player,
Rochester Rocket down.
That's Braden Parashow down for the Rockets. And I'll take this time here to remind you to listen for the Tornadoes. Doug McKinney, Country Financial Agent, Player of the Game, announced in the News Talk WTIN post-game show. Doug McKinney, Country Financial, where they grow with you. Let's take a second here, John, talk about the Rochester defense. It's a kind of cool story how they wound up with their defensive coordinator, Steve Bucher. So Derek Leonard, head coach for Rochester. He comes from a football coaching family. His father coaches over at Sacred Heart Griffin, also known as SHG, a very talented 6A school. And those two play each other year in and year out, and they dub it the Leonard Bowl. But defensive coordinator Steve Bucher used to help coach with Ken Leonard at SHG before he took the head coaching job at Lanphier. And he was there for a few years and decided to step down. And Ken Leonard gave him a call and said, hey, my son, Derek, is going out to coach at Rochester. You should go out there with him. And so that's how Steve Bucher wound up where he is now, and his defense playing a solid game. Here's a 1st and 10, though, for Odom. Out to the 46. Screen out to the left to right. Up the sideline. He gets across the 45 into Rochester territory and runs out of bounds at the 36. Another first down for Taylorville. And another $10 to the Tornado Sports Boosters. That's courtesy of Landmark. Remember, John, you always do better at Landmark.
You do, and I'll tell you what, it's kind of difficult. This will really put a cap on the night for you as to why it's going the way that it's going. The Rockets have more touchdowns than the amount of times that the Tornadoes have gotten across midfield on offense. So no doubt the reason is 57-13.
Brandon Odom back out of the shotgun formation. As you mentioned, John, and quite the deficit on the scoreboard with 6:35 left on the clock. Play action. Odom dropping back to pass, and now he's pressured, scrambling to the outside, and now he's going to scramble himself up across the line of scrimmage and inside the 30. He runs out of bounds at the 25. He shed a few tacklers on that play, John. Very deceptive speed there for Brandon Odom.
I'll tell you what, and the defensive players looks like they should have had him. I mean, they were sliding down his back just like water. I mean, he was just so elusive on that run and able to stay in bounds. And I think he kind of fooled the defender there where he thought he was going to duck out of bounds about the 20 or about the 32-yard line, but stayed in and picked up a more greater chunk of yards.
Another first down for Taylorville. Landmark donates another $10. Odom taking a shot to the end zone to Justin Wright, who catches it. Complete. Touchdown Taylorville. 57-19 now with 5:46. The clock needs to be stopped.
It's going to be a running clock because it's a 40-point contest.
Yes. Thanks for the math there, John, the quick math. But now the clock stops at 5:44. So 57-19. Clock is stopped after the Justin Wright touchdown on the near sideline. And this team's not going to quit. They've got no quit in them here in the quarterfinal round of the state playoffs. Brandon Odom will kick the extra point. Jack Kettlecamp in to hold for him. The last one was a screeching line drive that was inches above the crossbar. See if he can make this one. High snap for Kettlecamp. Odom kicks it. Got some air underneath it. And it was no good. The kick went to the outside of the uprights. 57-19 is where the score stays with 5:44 left. And the third quarter, Rochester on top. It's Tornado football on News Talk WTIN. Yeah, just a 30 here.
The sacrifices that veterans, first responders, and their families make to ensure our continued freedom and safety. Therefore, when advanced planning, we extend a pricing benefit to all veterans, first responders, and their spouses to show our gratitude for their heroism. Please call us today at 217-824-3311 to find out more information.
As the Tornadoes just got their third touchdown of the night, Justin Wright with a big reception and a great throw by Brandon Odom. Find him in the end zone. Brandon Odom will now kick off left to right on the drop kick. A high lofting kick returned by the Upman and fair caught at the 39. That was Logan Monroe on the reception there. But a flag, John, I think you're about to point that out to me.
Yeah, offsides on the kicking team, oddly enough. Got a little bit too trigger happy for some of the Gunners. So it looks like we're going to get a re-kick, and I think that's kind of what Brandon Odom would want. That one a little bit too high and not quite as much distance as we're used to seeing.
Well, you got to get it far down the field just to get it back to where the first kick went, as they've been pushed back 10 yards now in the kickoff. because of that penalty. So 5:05 left in the third quarter. Brandon Odom will realign his kickoff here. The drop kick from left to right. This time gets some more distance on it, and it's returned at the 35 and fair caught for Jarrett Reed. Rochester offense comes back out onto the field. And very successful tonight. Still got that running clock going on the scoreboard. So 57-19. Clock is ticking down under 4 minutes and 40 seconds now. And a lot of Taylorville players huddled up right around the lone heater on the sideline. Down there trying to stay warm. It is a cold one tonight. But the Rochester offense, the cold's not phasing them. They are hot and just keep moving it down the field. And here they are on a 1st and 10 from their own 35. Brock McKinney in at quarterback this drive. Once again.
You mentioned the cold. It doesn't affect the running game quite as much as the passing game. We've seen Brandon Odom, the quarterback. He has been going over to the heater and just dangling his right hand in front of it.
Kenny takes the snap, hands off to the running back. He runs it up the middle and pulls his way down to the 40-yard line. A gain of 5, 2nd and 5 coming up for Rochester. And I cannot identify that running back for you because it's very confusing right now. He's wearing the number 21. Original 21 is David Yogerst, but they're telling us that Yogerst was wearing the number 11 tonight. And so there's another number 21 out on the field there for Rochester, who quite frankly I can't accurately give you the name of that player. So he will just be mentioned as a running back.
I'm wondering if that's the freshman that he traded jerseys with, Seth Parkinson. That'd be my best guess. It doesn't look like Yogerst because he had on the long white sleeves, and this tailback has on 3/4 sleeves and some orange gloves.
They send him in motion. McKinney will just take the snap. Quarterback keeper up the middle. He goes for a gain of 6. Picks up the first down for Rochester. Up to the 46 he moves. With 3:05 left now, and Rochester really taking their time in between snaps. And John, one of the reasons their running game has been so strong is their offensive line. Despite their only senior being their center, Quentin Boxman, they've really put together a complete game, and really for the most part a complete season when you have 4 different players having as much success on the ground as they've had this season, 3 of those being running backs, the 4th being the quarterback. It all starts with the offensive line.
Absolutely. And I think the scariest part is you mentioned 4 of those 5 offensive linemen are juniors. So are 2 of their tailbacks, and they also have the sophomore.
Another handoff goes to the unidentifiable running back who goes 2 yards up the field before he got stood up and stopped. And clock will continue to run. Rochester will eat up some more of that clock, and it's 2nd and 8 coming back up from the 47-yard line. Mentioned Quentin Boxman, the center on that offensive line. And he's not in the game right now, John, because Rochester's keeping their starters healthy out there, understandably so, as they'll move on to play the winner of Kankakee and Effingham. But Quentin Boxman, the only senior on the offensive line, and he's the one who keeps them all in check. He has to know what's going on every single play and make sure that all those juniors who his left and his right know what's going on every single play. That's a tall thing to ask for your center. We'll dig more into that here in a few moments. And quarterback keeper, McKinney will run it himself up the right side of the field and gets another gain of about 5 on the play just across the 50-yard line to about the Taylorville 47. And it'll be a 3rd and short coming up soon for Rochester with 1:30 left on this third quarter running clock. 57-19, defending state champs Rochester leads. But the Boxman, you have to be smart if you're going to keep your other offensive linemen in check. Derek Leonard's got some high praise for the kid. He says one day he could see him being a head coach himself.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And anytime you have the senior center, that's the man in the middle. Normally the center is the one that's going to be handling much of the blocking cadences. But let's not it's not like we're throwing any shade or anything at these juniors that are the left tackle, left guard, and right tackle. There's plenty of football played for them throughout their career as well. They know what they're doing. But when things really start to break down, obviously you're going to look at the senior center and Boxman.
Eating up more clock is Rochester's offense. McKinney, play action, runs it himself up the middle and will be stopped right at the 46-yard line. About a yard short of the first down spot. 57-19, John, with the running clock that will get us close, or if not to the very end of this first quarter. One interesting thing about Quentin Boxman, though, he's a center, and he's a big kid, too, if you see him out on the football field. He's 5'10", 275 pounds. He plays hockey up at Springfield High School in the wintertime. Here's a quarterback sneak from McKinney, and he gets stopped. Maybe a loss of 1 on the play on a 4th and short. And that's the first time Rochester's offense hasn't scored tonight. They got off one play before the quarter ended, and with the running clock, that'll take us to the end of the third. 57-19, Rochester leads. But Taylorville's offense will be out to start the fourth. It's Tornado football on News Talk WTIN.
Hello, this is Matt Kuntz, Commercial and Agricultural at CNB Bank and Trust in Taylorville. Over the years, I've worked closely with clients and fellow loan officers to develop relationships and loans based on the needs of each customer. Stop in and see me, Matt Kuntz, at CNB Bank and Trust, helping to open doors since 1854.
Member FDIC, equal opportunity.
Rochester offensive line, but they went with a quarterback sneak there, turnover on downs to end the quarter. But they got the backups in. They got the second stringers out there as they're going to gear up for a semifinal matchup between either Kankakee or Effingham. And Effingham, a team that Taylorville had beat, were a 10 seed in the South bracket. How about them making some noise in the postseason tournament, making it all the way to the quarterfinal?
Well, that Effingham team had a really tough start to their season. 1-2 or 0-3, if I'm not mistaken, really turned it around.
Odom, 1st and 10, quick throw to right at the 45 and gets tackled at the 40. He was spun up and head over heels there, but held on to the football. And a nice play by the All-State wide receiver picks up the first down. Friends at Landmark at Taylorville donate another $10 to the Tornado Sports Boosters. 1st and 10 from the Rockets 39. Brandon Odom staying in the football game here, 3-year starter in his final year at quarterback. Will run it himself up the middle, and a gain of about 6 on the play. Gets it inside the 35 to about the 33. Brought down at the end by Sid Cox.
Yeah, Sid Cox there, it looked like he was out of position, and Odom had a step on him. But I'll tell you what, that was a quick movement there by Sid Cox, shifting back to his right, transitioning the hips, and able to make the tackle on Brandon Odom.
Pistol formation for Odom. Handoff goes to Bouchon, and just nothing on the play there. He gets wrapped up quickly. And not really a whole lot of handoffs this game, John. I know that the handoff there was to Bouchon. I can't think of another handoff that we've seen tonight from the Taylorville offense.
No, it's been a lot of QB draws by Brandon Odom, and the thing is, you're not really going to have too effective a running game or go to it too much when you know it's not your bread and butter, and when you dig yourself an early hole like the Tornadoes did.
Brandon Odom, quick snap, quick pass to right, who catches it just across the 25 and shakes a few tacklers and runs inside the 20-yard line before he is chased out of bounds on the play at the 17. It was Jaden Myron coming in to lay the hit. Wisely, right goes out of bounds. 10:25 left on the clock, 57-19. Tornadoes inside the red zone. It hasn't happened often tonight, but they have another chance to score here. Brandon Odom's in the pistol formation. Bouchon in at running back behind him. Odubison out to the right. And here's a handoff that goes to Bouchon. Up the middle he goes and scampers his way inside the 10 to the 6 with 10:05 and counting. Left in the fourth quarter, 57-19. Rochester on top. Taylorville still working, though. Jeb Odom doesn't want to take the starters out, and I don't blame him.
Absolutely, especially with somebody that being senior-led. I think that's why we see Riley Bouchon in the tailback, because he is the senior compared to Herkert being the junior.
Handoff goes to Bouchon again. Stutter step up the middle and gets it to the 1 and almost outstretched his arms far enough to get it to the goal line. Officials will call the knee down at the 1-yard line. 9:35 left in the fourth quarter, 57-19. And Bouchon, he's been a steady back for Taylorville all year, and he plays both defense and offense. And Jeb Odom will speak very highly of his ability to play that linebacker position, how he reads tackles, how he makes cuts. And another carry goes to Bouchon, and he'll finish off the drive and get the score. No quit left in the Tornado offense. Despite the running clock, despite what the scoreboard may show, this team will play every single second and every single down that they can. 57-25 is the score now, and I believe I saw the team being carried out there, and they'll go for the extra point here. Brandon Odom kick it. He missed his last one, made the one before that, missed the one before that. So it's been a streaky night kicking the extra points for Brandon Odom.
That just means he's due for one.
If he keeps up with that pattern, John, you are correct. Jack Kettlekiff to hold. It's a clean snap. Odom gets underneath it. Kick looks clean, and it's good. Officials will say through the uprights. 57-26. Taylorville still putting some points on the board with 9:10 left on the clock. And make sure to listen to the end of tonight's game for the Tornadoes. Doug McKinney, your country financial agent, player of the game, announced in the News Talk WTIA post-game show. Doug McKinney, country financial, Ring Road with you. And also, the player of the game, forget about the player of the game as well. That's brought to you by Central Illinois Smiles Family Dentistry. Player of the game, known as the Big Smile of the game. Player that puts a big smile on our fans tonight. Got custom mouth guards for your athlete's smile by contacting Drs. Lewis and Harmon at CISmiles.com. I know the scoreboard shows 57-26 with just over 9 minutes left in the fourth. But, John, there have been some bright spots for Taylorville, mostly with their offense here tonight. If you're going to find those bright spots and plays that you can pick from that definitely, I know, put a smile on fans' faces tonight. As you know, we've heard them cheer for the most part this game.
Yeah, Justin Wright and Emio Dubison, a couple touchdown receptions, kind of in garbage time, but still any positive momentum they can get, you'll take it.
Here's the kick return for Rochester, return just out to the 33. That's where they will come back out to lead their charge offensively. Just came up with their first possession where they came up short. They didn't come away with any points on the board that time around. It was a... you know what? That was a very foreign noise from the crowd, John. That
was
that
one of those vuvuzelas?
I have
or whatever
no idea.
Do you remember that thing from
it rattled me. I forgot what I was talking about.
What World Cup was that? Was the one in South Africa where they were all just blowing those weird horns? What are they called? Vuvuzelas?
They're called vuvuzelas.
Vuvuzelas.
I don't believe that was a vuvuzela, though. You get a much more deep sound with a vuvuzela. That was, I don't know what that was.
I think I see the horn right there. That was the issue. It's like a baby vuvuzela.
Yeah. I don't know. It threw me off guard because I completely forget what I was. Rochester had come up with their first possession without scoring any points. That's what it was.
It sounds like a wounded elephant.
It sounds like a goose. Here's a shotgun snap from McKinney. Cherry goes up the middle to the running back on the handoff, and he gets maybe a gain of 3 on the play before the dog pile of the Tornadoes pushes him back. And
it is Seth Parkinson that does get the carry. It's weird that the jersey wasn't good enough for Yoggers to wear, but you know what? The freshman tailback, Seth Parkinson, goes, sure, why not? I'll wear whatever's wrong with it. Get some PT.
And interesting here, Derek Leonard is going to put his starters back out on the football field. Riley Lewis out there, as well as Hank Beatty, Cade Eddington on the far side of the field, Clay Bruno back in at quarterback. And it's a 2nd and about 7 from the Rochester 35. They're going to continue to eat up the time on this clock. Now there's a flag in the air, though, John. Pre-snap. Bruno looks at the officials with his arms held out, just saying, what was the call? What were you going to do? But officials say, no, there was a call there, buddy. Something that happened pre-snap and pushes Rochester back. And despite the scoreboard, the Taylorville crowd's still lively here.
Yeah, the thing is, though, all that false start does is it resets the play clock. And with the running clock, it's more time that the Rockets can take off.
Yeah, 6:50 left and counting down. It is a running clock. Rochester leads 57-26. Bruno will give the carry to DeRoche, his running back, who sheds a tackler across the 40, cuts back to the right, up across the 50 into Tornado territory, and brought down at the 42 at the end of the play. Will Kettlecamp was finally able to chase down DeRoche and bring him down.
And Carter Walton also getting credit for that tackle, another senior. And if I'm not mistaken, I think we have all seniors out there on the defensive front, or on the defensive end, rather, of the ball.
Season comes to an end. Jeb Odom trying to get many of his seniors out there that he can. 6:13 and counting on our running clock. 57-26, Rochester leads with a 1st and 10. Eating up some more clock here as Derek Leonard is looking to make a run at the 8th state title in 9 years for Rochester. The program that he has been able to establish has been nothing short of incredibly successful. Play action. Throw's going to go over to Riley Lewis on the left side of the field. He catches it and shakes Kettlecamp and runs forward for another 3 yards. Not a huge pickup there from Riley Lewis. There's a couple flags come in the air now, and multiple flags.
I think Emio Dubison just drew a flag from every single official on the field. He took his man Hank Beatty, took him completely off the field and into the tackle. Now Emio Dubison comes to the sideline shrugging his shoulders. And he just pushed one of his teammates now. Okay, someone's got to get in Yemi's face. You really can't have that happening. And when we had Mayor Bruce Berry on at halftime. He said it's likely the season's going to come to an end tonight. The one thing you want to do, though, is lose with class. And I got to say it right now. You're seeing that from Yemio Dubison. Anyone can have a smile on their faces, and everything's great when you're winning. But what really defines you as a man is how you act when things aren't going your way. And Yemio Dubison really hasn't showed what we're hoping he would have showed tonight. Just ignoring his teammates on the sideline now.
Yeah, he's been frustrated all night long, really, from the get-go. The offense wasn't able to get much going, and he's frustrated down there on the sideline. He's taking his gloves off. He just threw them on the bench, and
Brandon Odom just shaking his head.
He's walking away and taking off the sleeves on his arms, just hanging out by the heater. And, I mean, you can tell he's frustrated. It's been a frustrating night for everybody for the Tornadoes, but by far, O'Dubison's body language tonight, it's really gotten to him. Here's Rochester again, though, on a 2nd and 8. Renault still in at quarterback. Derek Leonard putting his starters back out onto the field this drive with 4:07 left on the running clock. 7-26. Rochester leads and will move on to the next round, being the state semifinals. Here's a handoff, goes to DeRochen, and he runs straight up the middle with complete speed. Sheds a tackler at the 10, and in for another touchdown. Rochester builds once again.
My goodness.
63 points for the defending state champs. They may be the 4 seed, John, but their one loss this season came to SHG, whose SHG lost last year by letting Washington score a touchdown in the state playoffs with 2.3 seconds left. And SHG is a very good program, and that's Rochester's only loss. A 4 seed, you could argue, was too low for this team. And tonight, I don't think you could argue it. I think it's just a fact that 4 was a little bit low with 3:45 left on the clock. Got 63 points on the board. Extra point is up, and it is good. All wealth remains perfect on the night. So now 64-26. Rochester's just laid it on, and they're going to be gunning for another state title here with head coach Derek Leonard.
Absolutely, and you mentioned they're going to face the winner, I believe, Kankakee and Effingham, and I'll tell you what, one of those two teams is going to run into the buzzsaw that is the Rochester Rockets, and this is a talented Taylorville team, folks. Let's not forget about that. The offense has been clicking on all cylinders. Justin Wright set the single-season receiving record last week. They brought in Yemio Dubison from Bolingbrook. He had over 1,000 receiving yards, and I think had his 15th touchdown reception tonight. And Justin Wright going to fall one shy of getting 20 on the season. The offense really was clicking all year round, and it's not what the Tornadoes did wrong. It's what the Rochester Rockets did right. And I don't think it didn't matter who the Rochester Rockets faced tonight. They were just a totally different animal.
They really were. They scoring on almost every single one of their drives. The only drive they didn't score on was their last drive before they just scored, where it was a turnover on downs. They tried the quarterback sneak, and it was unsuccessful. And, yeah, John, I don't think no matter what team played Rochester tonight, I think you couldn't have said it any better. The team was going to walk away with a win when they were playing as well as they were throughout all 4 quarters. 3:45 remains on the 4th quarter clock. Tornado fans trying to stay loud here. But 64-26. Quite the large margin on the scoreboard. Kickoff will bounce into Justin Wright's hands. He runs it up the middle and down at the 35. And I'll point this out, John. Yemio Dubison not out there on that kick return. Justin Wright was in place for him. And Dubison's been back there on every single kick return this season. Not that time around. You wonder why?
Well, I think it's pretty obvious. I think that might have been his second unsportsmanlike conduct. And anytime you draw a penalty from every official on the field, or a flag rather from every official on the field, I wonder if he's been ejected from the game. I don't believe so because he's still on the sideline. But we've seen earlier this year, I believe it was Mount Vernon, Austin Herkert. There was an issue with him on defense. That was one of the games we saw him at linebacker, and he ended up getting ejected from the game, not from the officials, but from head coach Jeb Odom.
So this will likely be the end of Taylorville's season. senior-heavy class who accomplished a lot this year. You mentioned Justin Wright setting the single-season receiving yards record for Taylorville High School. Brandon Odom threw for the most career yards in Taylorville High School.
It's Hunter Morgan making his way off the field, and this is really, for Coach Odom, he really just requested a timeout from the official saying, can I take my seniors out and have a moment with this special group?
And that's a very classy thing to do if you're Jeb Odom. It's seen commonly in sports, but it's just always a moment to appreciate your players, the ones who put your ideas to work out there in the field. Odom will hand off to Herkert, and Herkert spins across the 40. He took the carry from the 36, maybe got a gain of 5 or 6 on the play. Herkert, haven't said his name a whole lot tonight, but Taylorville was very pass heavy, understandably so. 2:45, counting down on our fourth quarter clock, 64-26. And you wonder what could be in store next season for Taylorville. They're going to graduate a lot this year. Brandon Odom has a handful of offers on the table, and you expect him to go on and continue his playing days in college. I believe he just received his second Division II offer this last week. I saw the school, John, and I'll be honest with you, I could not pronounce it.
I believe it's pronounced Bumeda.
Bumeda?
Somewhere, something like that.
Bumeda. I know he also has an offer from Olivet Nazarene and also Missouri Baptist as well. Yemio Dubison also has an offer from Missouri Baptist. But going to have a lot of turnover with this team. It'll be interesting to see who they field next year, how the offense changes, what Jeb Odom is going to do. Can they make a 7th straight postseason appearance? As now you got some second stringers in. Here's a handoff to a running back for Taylorville that goes for no gain. 2:35 and ticking down on the clock. It's a lot of time in between plays here. Taking down now, just winding down the clock and slowing things down.
Yeah, and you mentioned we kind of missed broadcasting. A cool moment there, Coach Odom taking out his seniors. Probably none more special in his heart than taking out his nephew, senior quarterback Brandon Odom, and they shared an embrace there for probably a good 5 to 10 seconds. And you kind of wonder what that moment means for both of them. Reality has finally set in now that this game is really out of reach, and with them leaving the contest with 2 minutes left to go, no seniors out there, but just especially what they've done in their 4 years with this program, really something to write home about.
There's a fumbled snap, and looking down on the sideline, John, Yemio Dubison and Will Kettlecamp shared a hug as well. And it's difficult times when your season comes to an end. And I think realization is setting in a little bit for these guys. And you get a couple, I can't tell the numbers because of the bear hugs, but a couple offensive linemen being hugged out there on the sideline as well, with Yemio Dubison coming in as well. And this is a group, a lot of them, they've gone through the school system together. They've gone through youth football together. And to put together a season in a high school career that they did, I mean, in this senior class, none of these guys know what it's like to not make the postseason. They've been in the postseason every single year that they have played varsity football. And for it to come to an end is tough. You move on to the next phase in your life, but you cannot discredit what the Tornadoes were able to do this season. They'll fall to 11-1 as the clock will continue to wind down. 5 on the play clock. Tornadoes will have to punt it away in a 4th down. Booted way back in the air. The upman will just decline to not catch it and let it roll all the way back. Nathan Milam will touch it up at the 19-yard line with 43 seconds on the clock.
And Will Kettlecamp, one of the seniors we see going out there to make the final stand on defense, is 30 seconds and counting left in this contest, and they're actually not going to send him out.
Players will shake things up at midfield. And for the Rochester Rockets, they move to 11-1 in the year. We'll head to the state semifinal next week. And for the Tornadoes, their season draws to a close. And what was a very successful season, tying the school record for most wins in a season with 11, they fall to 11-1 and will say their farewells to what has been a very heavy and talented senior class. The News Talk WTIM post-game show. Stay tuned for that. 64-26, our final score here at Taylorville High School. I'm Harrison Silcox. John Bowen with me. News Talk WTIM post-game show next.
The game, right?
refinancing your home is a headache over title issues. Hi, this is Jeff Robinson with Advanced Title Group in Taylorville. We're closing in on 2 decades of successful closings, construction escrows, title searches, and title insurance services. Single-family home, farm, or business, avoid the headache. Choose Advanced Title Group in Taylorville. See us at advancedtitlegroup.com. Advanced Title Group, excellence with integrity. That's our policy.
Hello, Aaron Seaton with Bob Riding. Online at Bob Riding's Painter. Click on the link to search all 6 dealerships. Find something of interest at one of our other stores. Give us a call at 562-3986. We can bring that vehicle to Painter for your viewing. As we always say, cars and trucks are like eggs. They're cheaper in the country.
Senior citizens of Christian County remain a vital part of the community. Representing seniors, we provide quality services, non-emergency transportation, and strive to develop and implement interesting and valuable programs for seniors. Activities and programs include exercise classes, bridge, meetup, day trips, as well as gyms, weekly cardiac aerobics, and much more. Senior citizens of Christian.
John Bone alongside me, and we'll recap a little bit on the Tornadoes season and really from where things started with Mount Vernon to the long journey to where we have wound up now. No matter which way you look at it, an undefeated regular season, Apollo Conference champs, making it to the quarterfinal round of the IHSA State Playoffs for the 3rd time in Jeb Odom's head coaching career. It was a successful season for the Tornadoes and really stood out by John, a very talented senior class led by the quarterback, Brandon Odom.
Yeah, absolutely. Brandon Odom, 37 going into tonight, 39 touchdowns on the season. That's compared to his 7 interceptions, 8 interceptions after throwing one tonight. He was about 200 yards shy of getting 3,500 on the year. I think he fell just short of that. And again, that was just he ran into this Rochester Rockets defense that just clamped down on his weapons, and I mean, there's nothing he really could have done about it. We mentioned Justin Wright, Yemio Dubison. They've had spacing all season to do whatever they wanted to do, and it really showed in the passing game. But really not able to get anything going. As for tonight, we saw the cornerbacks David Allen, who was matched up against Yemio Dubison all night, and Riley Lewis, who drew the Justin Wright assignment, and they were his shadow. They were their shadows all night, right on the hip. And we mentioned when they did make a reception, they were brought down almost instantaneously, not able to get any yards after catch. But also, let's just really stress the amount of pressure that puts on the quarterback, Brandon Odom, to put it in that tight of a window to try to find a way to get it where only his receiver can catch it. It's a pretty difficult task for him.
And we'll take a quick pause here in the post-game show. I'd like to remind you, though, about Milling Millwork Contracting Incorporated, providing professional quality craftsmanship. Their location at 405 West Main Cross in Taylorville are fully insured and bonded. That's Milling Millwork Contracting Incorporated, a proud sponsor of the Taylorville Tornadoes. We'll be back with more. John will have your player of the game and a play of the game for the Tornadoes here on the News Talk WTIM post-game show.
Hi, it's me again, Betty Rose. Our November specials, all presidential series of Englander bedding, all sizes on sale. Super buys on floor samples, apartment-sized sofas in 3 colors, only $349. A Simmons Hide bed with innerspring mattress, only $798. 4-drawer chest, $88. Oak bookcase, $169 up. Regular reclining sofa, $788. And much, much more. Look for the floor sample tags and save. Betty Rose's Furniture, downtown Taylorville.
You do your best to protect your loved ones. And while you may keep a fresh battery in your smoke detector and have a reliable home security system, there is a whole different type of protection you may be missing. A life insurance policy from Auto Owners Insurance is a way to safeguard your loved ones now and in the future. Meet with your local independent agent and secure a policy today to protect their tomorrows. Auto Owners Insurance.
30 seconds. People call me, Alex McClure, or Casey McClure at McClure Halberg Insurance in Taylorville, Illinois, 824-2266.
Sweet and spicy. The new honey barbecue glazed tenders at McDonald's. Delicious buttermilk crispy tenders tossed in a new sweet and spicy honey barbecue glaze. There's a nice balanced barbecue flavor to the sauce that goes really well with the crispy chicken tenders. Stop by your Taylorville McDonald's and try them out. You asked for it? You got it. The McRib will be making its return. Sink your teeth into the McRib sandwich, slathered.
Back to the News Talk WTIM post-game show. There's Silcox, John Bowen here to my left. Let's go ahead and get into it. The player of the game, John.
Brought to you by Doug McKinney, your country financial agent. Player of the game is announced. And the News Talk WTIM post-game show, that's right now. So, Doug McKinney, Country Financial, when they grow with you. John, who is your player of the game?
Not that we have a whole lot to pick from tonight, obviously, with the game being as it was, but Justin Wright really stood out to me. The receiving touchdown late in the game, and really just more so the way he carried himself. Very proud of him out there on the field. This game, let's be honest, folks, when the buzzer rang at halftime with the Tornadoes down 36, I think they kind of went to that locker room and you thought, okay, this is kind of the end of this season. And he really never gave up in that second half. He made some touchdown-saving tackles on a couple of plays in that second half, bringing down some Rockets inside the 5. Granted, they did end up scoring on both of those drives. But really, he never gave up on the play, and really my hat's off to him.
And let's now get into our Central Illinois Smiles Family Dentistry. Big smile of the game, John, the play that put the biggest smile on our fans tonight. Also, don't forget to ask about custom mouth guards for your athlete's smile. Just contact Doctors Lewis and Harmon at CISmiles.com. So, yeah, John, a loss 64-26 against the Rockets. Not a whole lot to choose from tonight, but there were still some flashes of big plays for Taylorville. A couple onside kick attempts in the mix there as well, but what are you going to go with?
I'm going to give it to Yimio Dubison. The first play in the second half, he took it about 55 yards to the house on the score, and really just able to turn on the Jets when he hit that 40-yard line. And he had Cade Eddington running him down, which was the most impressive part. You mentioned he's the wide receiver for the Rockets that has an offer to the U. That's the University of Miami down in Florida. And honestly, we'd rather would have broadcasted from there tonight. Let's put that out there. We're going to be honest with these freezing temps. But really just showing off the speed there, and Eddington really just kind of eating dust the whole way down the sideline. That's my big smile of the play. Again, not a whole lot to choose from, but that play really stands out to me tonight.
There were some good plays in there for Taylorville, despite what the scoreboard may show. John, you picked that one, and I'd say I have to agree with you. That was a good play. Appreciate those of you who followed along with John and I all season long here at News Talk WTIM, and what was a very successful season for the Tornadoes. No matter how you write it up, it came to a close tonight against the Rochester Rockets, defending state champions. They're looking to make it 8 of the last 9 for them being crowned the state champions. So they will move on to the state semifinal round next weekend. Final score 64-26. And John Bowen, I'm Harrison Silcox, and this is News Talk WTIM.